Look at John Cena's face.
Cena has been beaten, bruised, battered, and torn, but look at his face right now. Cena is looking for some payback.
John Cena never quit. John Cena took the beating, and now Cena is all over the Miz.
All right, I don't know if you could show that on YouTube.
Probably not, but either way, it don't matter. I mean, that actually looked like it hurt, to be honest.
You hear it, right?
Yeah. Saying, like,
okay.
The way he was doing it, it's like he wasn't really holding back on that one. I don't know if that's kind of, again, everyone's talked about how his punches had a little extra behind them just because he was heavy-handed. It wasn't malicious. It's just that's how he threw punches, which is funny because he never hit the 5-knuckle shuffle at all. Like, he always just drops to the side, like grazing them like this. But when it comes to, I mean, he threw, that was one of my favorite bits for the longest time. He would just pick up the stairs and then chuck the steel steps at people. That, like, when he kept doing that every year, once a year, that was one of the best things he was doing. You just, Bray Wyatt, boom. Rusev, boom.
Umaga.
The Samoan bulldozer. Yamanga.
Umaga, yeah. It just tossed him to show his like feat of strength. It's just like,
I mean, those steps do look heavy.
No, they very much are. They steel steps.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how you can just gimmick that. That's steel.
Well, the top steps are the lighter ones because the base steps, those are the heavier ones. That's why I like dragging those around. But still, I mean, props. Movie props. Movie magic.
CD Lamb got the neck of the Predator. Pause.
Why you say that? Because it's
yeah, he just looked like an alien. As we're recording, watching the game. If anybody is here, the reason why I'm not on camera is to save y'all. Because why do y'all want to see me? I couldn't gimmick the camera. It's not working, so we're here.
What's the score of the game? I'm trying to find it.
I don't know, but what's today's mathematics?
I gotta look it up. Isn't it? Let's say, all right. Let's be honest. 99% of the time, it's knowledge, isn't it?
That's all you really need.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to shit on it, but like, isn't always knowledge?
Thank you, beloved. That's really nice of you. Happy holidays to you, your wife, your family.
Right. If I look it up right now and it says, oh, see, my second one was going to be all right. So it says wisdom, understanding, all being born to power, refinement. See, that
was for you, DeAndre. Yeah, what? Just like Josh said.
Yeah. So and again, I don't shit on because I told you that one time. Like, imagine if I like fully looked into it like I thought I should. I'm like, don't they just say knowledge? I'm like, obviously, knowledge is power. That's the peace God. Isn't that always the thing? Like, that was supposed to be the big ending in Indiana Jones. Remember, the aliens, they wanted knowledge. That's all they were looking for. Like, what do you mean? That's all they're looking for?
Are you saying us being a 5% are aliens? Because you might be right, my brother.
I mean, everyone's an alien in a way, I think. If you want to go real,
I mean, I'm watching the NFL, so yeah, about right. You got human beings that's out here running.
No, but again, I'm an alien because my ancestors came to this land from another land. That's again the part of being, the immigrant / alien. So again, we're all aliens in a way.
No, your immigrants are just Irish and Chinese.
But it's not like that part of Boys in the Hood who says every man is black because every man came from Africa. I'm like,
What is that woman teaching you? I didn't want to say your girl's name out loud, but what is she teaching?
No, that's again. Why do I always say I believe Jesus is black? Because it's the Middle East. There are no white people there.
Well, he was also black because he's taking too long to come back.
All right.
And look at the miracles he did. Like, all right, my homegirl is a prostitute.
Water into wine.
Yeah, and then look at his homegirl's a prostitute. For the most part, a lot of us have homegirls as prostitutes. I'm from LA. It's a bunch of them I know. Yeah, turning water to wine, like you just said, taking like one loaf of bread and some fish.
Making multiples.
Yeah, you ever see somebody do something like that with Todd Ramen?
That's why Patton Oswalt had that good bit about Jesus as an X-Men. He's like, because he made this whole thing like people with the Bible and this all that. It's like, let's be fair, Jesus would be the worst X-Men, with the exception of he'd be the necromancer because he can bring people back from the dead. He brought himself back from the, so like that would be good. Like, oh, Storm, you're dead. Wait, bring Jesus over. And he's like, do you need anything else? They're like, no, if we're having a luncheon, we'll call you so you can bring the fish and the bread. We don't need multiples of that right now. We're having a battle against Sentinels.
But wouldn't, and then I'm about to get real nerdy. Wouldn't he be considered Apocalypse? Of course, we fucking lose via field goal.
No, Apocalypse will be. Apocalypse is really supposed to be God, the creator, isn't he?
Oh yeah, all the mutants, but then the Son of God is Jesus.
That's what I'm saying. So Jesus wouldn't be Apocalypse because Apocalypse is supposed to be the creator. That was what they tried to communicate poorly in the Age of Apocalypse of Oscar Isaac. Him being again the creator of humans and mutants as a whole, but still it was poorly executed. I saw the movie in the theater.
Oh, you still awake? That's crazy.
Yeah, that was a lot of the I did the 3 episodes of White Noise where I was documenting my time at the movies. But in 2016 I went to the movies a lot, and I went to see Age of Apocalypse that opening Thursday.
That's the movie that got him up out of here. Well, that's not the movie that got him up out of here, but that was around the time where
it should have been the nail in the coffin, but then they were stupid enough to hire him for Bohemian Rhapsody, and then that was the one that got him out of here.
He should, because other than the performances, that movie was bad.
That movie is dog. As someone who just watched Maestro,
I tried to tell you. I tried to tell them.
So I just watched. I tried to show him.
Trying to tell you, brother.
No, the problem with Maestro was just it's the same thing. I watched this movie Saltburn earlier by Emerald Fennell. She made Promising Young Woman, my second favorite movie of 2020. But these were their second movies. Like Bradley Cooper knocked it out of the park with A Star Is Born. So for your next movie, you have to go bigger. You have to go more ambitious. Famously, Ryan Coogler, he did Fruitvale Station, and then Creed's his next movie. You don't kind of get bigger than something like that for a second feature. And time again, we see people do the second feature and do it poorly. The guy who did the Jurassic World movie, he had a small movie before, and then his movies after that started to tail off, and that's why they brought him. That's why they fired him from Star Wars and then brought him back to Jurassic World. Mm-hmm. But the problem with Maestro, and I think you would agree with this, is just like I think people get into the story about being a creator too much.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that Bradley Cooper wants to show everyone, rightly so, is that he is talented compared to what people would think. Because he's this handsome guy. Hollywood tried to make him our next big action star. He didn't want that, obviously. He studied at the Actors Studio. He's famous for always being at the inside the Actors Studio. Like he was on air a couple of times asking like Sean Penn questions, asking other people questions.
Yeah, real quick, to ask Sean a question about acting is funny.
Sean Penn?
Yeah, why would you, out of everybody, because I've seen those episodes. I had them on my old YouTube like 10 years ago. So when he was there being a mark for Sean Penn, I was like, yeah, this guy is going places.
Yeah, and he famously was like a real like worshiper of Clint Eastwood, especially how Clint Eastwood conducted himself as a director and actor, especially at the same time. And that's what I think Bradley Cooper is trying to do more often. But let's agree, like his best role has been Rocket Raccoon. I mean, and that's crazy to say because he just does the voice. Sean Gunn does all the all the mechanics. He does all the actual legwork, but his voice as Rocket Raccoon has been phenomenal. And he's had some good performances and other stuff. I think he's good in the A-Team. I always kind of like the A-Team movie.
Say, I went to the theaters to see that like the first day it came out with some people.
Really?
Yeah, it was me, my guy, another guy, and some women. That's it.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so that was fun. That was really scaring the hoes, respectfully.
I don't know.
They came out. These are women from like West Covina, Glendora area, so they was just like, it was okay.
But what do you think? Because there's always this discussion of scaring the hose, and what do you think's a real? I've made some of those choices. I've again watched those episodes of White Noise where I talk about going to the movies and the movies I took dates on. There were certainly some choices, I'll say.
Hey, I'm gonna dig through the crates and go back and listen to some episodes probably tomorrow.
I'm trying to think what was the most outrageous one.
I listened to it. I forgot what you said. It was like a real artsy movie, of course, but I forgot what you said.
I told the story of how I went to see La La Land and I thought these old people were going to fight because they were talking during the credits. And then one guy, another old guy, told this old couple, "Are you going to talk during the whole movie?" and, and I was just like, "This is why you don't go to the movies at 10 a.m. Davis, like on a Tuesday or a Thursday, whatever it was."
That's the best time to go for me.
No, but that's why I'm like, that's why I don't go, because the old people are going to start some shit.
He said, "Are you going to talk to the credits too?"
He said, "Are you going to talk during the whole movie?" And it was just the trailers playing. And at the end, he talked to me and said, "I wasn't going to let those people talk during the whole movie." And I'm like, I know.
Yeah, we could tell.
And then he was like, "That was a good movie." And I was like, "Yes, I thought it was," because I do like La La Land.
Almost fighting around La La Land is hilarious, bro. Run the Fade during a musical is hilarious, yo. And I've seen that movie too, unfortunately.
Okay, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, it was just at the time somebody I knew was getting like Remember People, a thing called SAG. Yeah, with SAG. Yeah, shit. You don't get no DVDs no more. You just get a code.
Okay.
Like how we watch Dune, you just get a code now, but you don't even get a code.
Oh, for screeners?
Yeah, for screeners, because I've been waiting to see if somebody's gonna get Iron Claw.
See, that's it. I don't want to see Iron Claw. I've said this from the jump. I don't want to see this.
Well, all right, and we'll go back to initially how we got here about scaring the host, because that's definitely a scaring the host movie.
I don't think
more
so
than God. No, that's more so than Godzilla, bro.
No. Godzilla -1.
Which is that was like a late entry for me for movie. Yeah. It's definitely, I don't know if I'm gonna put it above Guardians or They Clone Tyrone, but it's up there.
That's one movie I still have to watch.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you to watch that movie.
No, I will. I just with all the stuff that was coming out this week, I pushed that to the side. No, with the Iron Claw, and I said this like because I listened to the Laps fans chronicling. No, they did a great job chronicling the entirety of World Class, pretty much, not just Von Erich stuff, the Gino Hernandez stuff, the Gary Hart stuff. They did a year's worth of podcast about that and how the Ultimate Warrior was introduced, but largely a lot of it was the Von Erich. So I just have no desire to repeat this stuff. And again, I didn't watch those Dark Side of the Ring episodes because I'm not, an idiot who wants to cry over shit I already know. And that's why I don't want to see this movie.
You were bad with common sense, though. I love that. Hey, I need to write that down. I don't want to cry over that. I know. Like, gee, if people would go through life much easier if they knew, like, hey, this is a bottomless pit. If you jump through it, I promise you're going to fall very far.
But I say this as someone who's a wrestling fan and knows a lot of it already. It's not like how, what's a true story that came out in the last few years? Go ahead.
No, and then we'll go to that and then go back to scaring those. But no, it's just us as wrestling marks. We know it. Well, I won't even say we marks. Us as fans, we know what happened during the WCCW days. We know exactly how one of them met his fate. And they don't talk about that in the movie, which is fine because I understand because there's some dark stuff to it. No pun intended. But yeah, I mean, I want to see it acted out, but do I really care? No, because we know the story.
But see, and then what you just brought up is the point I bring. Like, if you're going to pull your punches, then what's the point? A lot. And I know that's weird to say because as someone who loves the Social Network, the whole point of the Social Network is a lot of this really isn't true in terms of the invention of Facebook and the people involved. The people, a lot of people on screen were involved, but to what extent, how much of this is doctored to make it more entertainment. But that's the thing, like, I don't watch that movie to find out how Facebook is invented. I watched that movie because from start to finish, it's one of the best directed, best written, and best scored movies, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. It's a great movie, and it just happens to be about how Facebook was invented. I don't look to that as here's the text of how Facebook's invented. Like, we got to respect it. We got to show that this is the truth, is what I'm trying to say. Like, this, I don't look at that as the truth. Same thing with a lot of biopics. Like we just brought up Bohemian Rhapsody. That's not true at all. They try to say he's a straight man who just has sex with dudes from time to time. It's like that. It's the opposite. It's the opposite.
Right. No, I'm not trying to be immature, but it was like, hey, yeah. No,
that's what they try to paint it as. Yeah. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, no, it's always been a complete opposite. And this is coming from a Queen Mark. It's like, dude, no, he just couldn't be that way from originally where his parents are from. He grew up in the UK, but he's Middle Eastern. So obviously he had to hide it until he got over there. I think he migrated over there. But regardless, he had to hide it.
Yeah. Well, not just that, but like it was kind of open to that extent where it wasn't a secret in the inner circle or the people around him. But also, we in 2018, 2019 knew that already. So for this movie to kind of lie about that and make like, oh, let's be honest, this is how it was. It's like, and this is going back to, Brian Redacted. That's his story. He's the guy living the lie.
Are we sure? I kind of knew even when I was a jit in 01 when X-Men came, or 2000 when X-Men came.
But he was the one saying, again, that's why they got him out the pink, because all these allegations, and he was married with a kid, denying these allegations over and over. But it's like that, and that's why that movie is weirdly cathartic, and it's funny that he got fired off of it, because it's like, for you trying to tell your life story of a man who's trapped being someone else. And Maestro, in a way, is kind of about that. And that's where my problem with Maestro is like, am I supposed to feel bad for him? Because I really feel bad for the wife, but it's like the wife knew, so you bought the ticket, you take the ride. That's no, you know what I mean?
It's write that down.
But that's one of the parts that frustrated me about it, because it seems she knows he's gay. Everyone kind of knows he's gay, but everyone kind of knows that he's with her, so he's clearly bisexual. But then she's mad at him for constantly being with men, or maybe she just got to the point where she was fed up with it and then takes him back. And I'm like, what am I supposed to take from this really? Is that, besides the fact that they were just two people who knew they had to be together, whether they were actually in love romantically or just in love personally? You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is one of those things where, and I think we've had this discussion. I swear we had it in 01. Because I've had it before we even start podcasting together, where the Oscar darlings are always set around some type of what's the best way, about some romanticism, and that's probably not a word, but it's always set. It's set around something like that, which is the core of everything anyway, being love. But a lot of times, more times than not, it's always set around this premise. And I'm not. Let me be clear, people. I'm being mature right now because we're having a real discussion, and I'm not attacking anybody that, doesn't, is not attracted to the opposite sex, but the same. It's just Hollywood does this, and it's not to pick on Hollywood again, or it's not to pick on anybody that, is into that. I'm just saying, like, every year they find a movie like this to be nominated. It's the same thing with what's the movie you like with my dude from Long Beach that played RZA?
Oh, Moonlight.
Yeah, it's like Moonlight. Yeah. It's always those movies that get nominated.
But to be fair, well, Moonlight's a phenomenal movie.
I haven't seen it since it came out, and I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I just haven't seen it since it came out.
I haven't watched it in a while, but there was a point I've seen maybe 3 times, but phenomenal movie. But to that point, again, it beat out La La Land, a movie about romance, but about making it in Hollywood, the quintessential Oscar movie at that. It's about old time musicals and the love for Hollywood and the love for acting. And Moonlight won because it was a portrayal of love, but not just any kind of love, gay, black love, which is rare for the Oscars to recognize. And that's why the whole last minute switch up of who actually won the movie, the card says this, but they announced it wrong, was that much of a shock, because people were like, is this movie that very seldomly gets respected, gets rewarded finally versus a movie that was like tailor made for the Oscars and La La Land. Like that movie had Oscars written it all over it, like Maestro does. And Maestro has two things working for it: someone and Bradley Cooper writing, starring, and directing it, just like he did with A Star Is Born. He puts on the prosthetics. He's, playing him from the young age to the old age. He's doing all these things that the Academy loves, like doing the work, showing the work, as you and I always say.
Do they really love? Damn, she bad. Sorry. Do they really love the idea of you putting in a work, or do they just love the idea of the story that you're depicting this character through? Which is the same thing, as you have to put the work in. So I'm kind of like, contradicting myself. But I feel like it's not even about the acting, and it hasn't been for years. It's more so about the screenplay.
But it has to be about the work, because I think you and I would both agree that Leo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street, and even Django, but I don't know if he was nominated for that.
He was.
He was nominated for Wolf of Wall Street. Those roles were way better than The Revenant, which he won for. But why did they give him The Revenant? Because
they had Constellation.
But no, but aside from that, which is what they're notoriously famous for, which is giving people Oscars when they should have had one already, they gave him that one for, he did all these stunts with the bear and on the horse and this and all that, and he braved the wilderness and the harsh winter that they were shooting, and it was like he did all this extra work compared to Wolf of Wall Street, which is Leo DiCaprio puts on a suit and B's funny. And, he tries, and not just tries, he's funny, which is hard to be. You and I both know, like, you can't just be funny like that, especially as an actor. But no, I'm saying the best, Daniel Day-Lewis can't be, the best comedic actor. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just something that you can.
Well, when you're a mark for yourself, of course. And he's a huge mark for himself.
Yeah. He's a mark more for the process, I think, than himself.
Well, himself, I say that because you get, and obviously if you set for life, you don't have to work. That's the American dream, or the British, it's just a world dream. Let's just say that. But with him, it's more so, okay, I'll wait for the right script. And then the right script probably comes around. He's just like, no, I fancy I won't do that anymore. I can't go in the wilderness and put myself on fire like some jabroni on Twitter I just saw earlier.
But he was someone who, like, acting became secondary to a point, like, so that he could pick and choose his scripts. He got his Oscars early as well, and he was someone, again, like, who had a life on the side, like a real life to live. Like, I just don't have to act to make money. Like, I can live a common life. Not to say like he was poor or anything, but he can live like a regular person, and he can act when he wants to act. That's the thing that actors these days, and you would know, are trying to fight, where they have to work because that's how you get any money. That was the whole point of the actor strike. And you can hear these actors over the last couple of years tell their story about constantly taking roles so they can get any amount of money, because the first role they get doesn't pay well because there are no one. And because we're in the era of no movie stars, the second movie's not going to just slap, an extra zero on that check to make you richer, because you still got to prove it, because there's no longevity anymore.
It's that, because it's all about the premise. Again, like I just talked about with the Oscars, I think that's what it is. They understand that as well. The premise is what's going to get you to the dance, not the partner. Because, like you just said, and you said it perfect, you're a very intelligent man. There are no more stars. The movie is now the star, but now the movies aren't stars anymore. As we just seen with all these comic book movies this year, it's over. It's a wrap. It's not a draw anymore. So, and Daniel Day-Lewis got a lot of scared of hoes movies too. Every single one of them is, even though I like them, definitely. Gangs in New York are scared of hoes.
Yeah, just
blood
because
it's beyond.
Well, Gangs in New York, just because it's so long. There Will Be Blood. It's just like there's a lot going on. I'm an oil man.
Yeah.
I've abandoned my child. I've abandoned my boy.
I don't know how many takes they had to do with that. Knowing him, he probably wanted to do 15. Like, nah, bro, that was good enough. We got that first screen.
Well, he's not David Fincher asking for 200 just because an extra wasn't moving in the background correctly. But that's the price of perfection. And you and I both respect the.
No, that's OD.
Yeah.
Because we always get into it about David Fincher, bro. That's OD for
No, I know
such
because
but
that's why it's funny. Steven Soderbergh's his like best friend because Steven Soderbergh's like, let's get in, get out, on to the next one. Not even
you
like
see how great his movies are.
But not even in like the Clint Eastwood way, but there are some Soderbergh movies where you'd be like, maybe you could spend a little bit more time on this one. But maybe he also knows like the premise doesn't need this movie in particular needs this amount of work compared to the others. But he's someone who's working 24/7. They talk about how he shoots the scene and he's already editing it. Versus David Fincher, who he's creating the perfect picture. And you got to respect someone who wants to create the perfect picture. This is what we were trying to say about Ospreay. Would you rather someone have the best match they can or someone who has the best match when they want to?
When you want to, because it's something called work rate, and work rate is minuscule these days, but at the same time, you don't need to go crazy with the work rate, which is...
But what was your match of the year?
It's definitely not the first one after rewatching it last night.
But I'm saying like it was that match because
no,
of the work rate.
And not to cut you off, but what did I say after WrestleMania? If you recall, you called me a mark.
You still think that match is good?
Dude, that match is really good. And know me. You know anybody that's listened to me, anybody that's been around me, y'all know how I give it up pause when it comes to like anything that I like. That match is for that. Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes match is good. Like that's their best match. And gosh, it's probably CM Punk versus John Cena at Money in the Bank. All right. That match is really good.
I had to rewatch it because I only rewatched it. I mean, I only watched it once. It was that night. And I was watching just like, as you know, I'm just, I'm Shania Twain. That don't impress me much. Like,
it wasn't even, it's just, you know what it is. All right. So, and then we can get into
it's like you bought the ticket, you took the ride, and the ride was, can he finish the story? The bloodline does all they can to keep, you bought the Roman Reigns plays to the crowd. You bought the atmosphere of WrestleMania. You bought the whole picture. You didn't buy.
No, it wasn't the story. I'm not a story guy. I don't care. It's like, dude. Okay, I watched New Japan Pro Wrestling. Tell me what Tahani is about to do.
And you always want to big up promos, and that's why you laughed when I said Daniel Garcia is not a great promo because I don't think he is. I don't think a lot of people are great promos. That's my thing. Just like it's hard to write a movie script. That's why Aaron Sorkin's Aaron Sorkin, because he writes the best scripts.
Well, also DeAndre, you gotta. It's because it's marks too. No disrespect, because they had Brock Lesnar versus Cody at SummerSlam, which was a good match. But come on.
Okay, now you're just pissing me off.
That was the versus. It was like, all right, bro, like. All right, I'm not jacking it, as they say in New York, because the tag team match between the Usos and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and I can't stand Kevin Owens, can't stand him, but that tag match was phenomenal.
Okay, so when did you flip on Kevin Owens? Is this because
I've been flipped on Kevin? No, because
no.
Find the tape. Anybody that think I said anything good about Kevin Owens, find the tape.
Man,
I definitely said a lot about Sami Zayn.
What did Amp do to you, huh?
Everything. Have dreads.
But
nah. Go ahead, and then I'll tell you exactly.
Like WWE making that their match of the year, like no fucking shit, that's their match of the year. Be honest. It's again like you can't trust their like the people who tell you again when the people say I'm not lying and they're lying, you can't trust what they're saying. Come on. Of course, that's their match of the year. They rig everything.
But hear me out on my honest opinion. All right, this is a man with bass in his voice, so I know what I'm talking about. Dude.
As compared to me, who talks like this?
Yeah, on podcasts. I got bass in my voice, so my opinion holds more matter. Bruh, it's not even because the bloodline story, because I've said it's fucking dead, and it's been dead since January. I don't care no more. The dude don't even, and I like Roman Reigns. Always been a fan of the guy. But it's just like he's not even scary no more. Everybody and their daddy's coming out to jump him, and he just looking, oh God, I'm scared. Like it's like, dude, it don't even move no more. But
he was looking scared the whole time, which is the point of like will this be the month Roman Reigns loses the title? And then the narrator, it wasn't. Like,
But now it's just like, all right, bro, you show up. I mean, again, it's the American dream to make millions and not show up to work. But now you show up, you cut the same old problem. What they say, John Cena, ECW One Night Stand 06, same old shit, same old shit.
Same old shit.
It's like, bro, it's the same thing now. It's like, all right, they coming out, they want to talk about, they want to have a match with you. Everybody trying to jump you. You got your fat cousin there. You got the fat man with you. And they supposed to be on the protection. Well, no, I don't. He's fat. The other ones just got, alcohol bodies.
Again, why did The Rock take steroids to fight that?
Dude, that ain't no steroids. Stop it.
The Rock?
That's not steroids, dude. Why you say he on the gimmick? I know he 50. I know Dwayne.
He's been on the gimmick for 20 years. Come on.
Nah, that's a stretch now, bro. That's too far.
He was probably on the gimmick at Miami, if we're being honest. Exactly.
I don't know about no. I'm thinking about because in the 90s, I don't know, bro. He wasn't on that in the 90s, bro. He's fat. That's what I've said, like, bro. The thing, because he was built like Tua. No, he was built like, what's my son that had the
yeah, you're just being racist. Like,
no, what's my dude that had the fake Manti? He was built like Manti Te'o.
Oh my! See, now you're being. Oh my God, this is Trump
and then he looked like Juju too. So there you go. So I guess I am racist. Well, Juju's had black and Samoan, so there you go. And apparently Tua is. I didn't know till today.
He's mixed.
Yeah, I thought he was just Russell Wilson 2.0.
Anyway,
he was Indian. Go ahead.
No, but I agree, and this has been my point the whole time. But when the fan base wants the same stuff, the company gives them the same stuff. People are arguing about AEW listens to the internet, blah blah blah. That's why their bookings are the way it is. Besides the fact that Tony Khan can book himself out of a paper bag, as they say.
But hold on 1 second. David said that. Let the record reflect. David said this 2 years ago, bro. During the summer.
He was a bad booker.
Yeah, you said this like 2 years ago during the summer. I remember it vividly.
I've said he's been a bad booker since the beginning, when it was clear he was the one booking after the Elite seceded, basically.
But you was the first one on the wagon to say this. You was on BRP saying this, and then everybody's like, "Oh, you gotta let it see. You gotta let it play out." And it's gotten worse.
Well, they say the same thing for WWE about give it time or what's wait and see, and it's like, no. Here's what. All right. Tony Khan's a matchmaker. He's not a storyteller.
Oh, so you're talking about Triple H?
No.
Oh, no, you said Tony Khan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Tony Khan's like, here's a match you'd want to see. This person, that person. These
again, you're not talking about Triple H? You sure?
Well, then we'll get to that. Because that's what NXT was. But then NXT, because it was on the network, was able to simplify its storytelling. That's why it worked. Besides the fact that a lot of it was recycled storytelling or stories that were elsewhere, but then now had the WWE shine on them. Not just the Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole stuff. I'm talking about Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. That was a story they created because they started as a tag team, and then like all wrestling storytelling, the tag team breaks up. One's a heel, one's a face, etc., etc. But WWE's storytelling is, who cares about the match? We're just telling you the story, especially with Roman Reigns. And that's why the pieces revolve in and out the way they do. That's why LA Knight had his 15 minutes of fame. He's back to reality. No, and that Cesaro had his 15 minutes of fame, back to reality, and so on and so on. Drew McIntyre had his 15 minutes of fame, back to reality. That's the Roman Reigns story. Who wants their 15 minutes? Because this family story is the bigger picture. But even that, like you're saying, has run its course. Not just because one guy's on a different show, but we already know what you want to say, which is Solo's next, because that's what we've all been saying. And how...
Who's saying that?
Well, it's because it's just the most obvious one.
Really?
Of Solo being the next tribal chief. In their story, it's the most obvious because the Usos have been running longer than Roman Reigns. So obviously someone who just came in has to now take the throne. You can't you can't be Tom Brady. What they were trying to say, like Tom Brady passed the baton to Aaron Rodgers. It's like they are 5 years apart. Like,
right.
Like,
I don't understand that. And then besides that, it was supposed to be Jimmy G. So yeah, definitely. Solo is Jimmy G.
In a real sense, yeah. In terms of, I'm not talking about within a franchise. I mean, in the overall scheme, like, you know, Magic and Bird to Jordan. They didn't pass that to like Isaiah Thomas. Like, it's like, no, they passed to the next guy, the guy who's going to lead for the next 10 years, and then he passed it to Kobe in kind of a weird way, but not really. It was more like Iverson than Kobe. If you would agree with that, I don't know.
No, let's move on. I never step on your opinions, but no, let's move.
Because like until LeBron James showed up, like who has the best title? Shaq, Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant, Tim. Again, it's like Tim Duncan, but no one respects Tim Duncan.
Right, and I don't know who could be Tim Duncan in WWE, but yeah, because it's not too many people accomplished as a Tim Duncan, even at the age of 22.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, all right, like you just said, well, you didn't say it, but it's basically that premise. It's like, all right, you get your 15 minutes of fame with this dude, but everything revolves around him. Okay, so cool. This is what we about to do, because we could tell y'all getting bored, even though we making all-time money. The crowds are showing up. We're going to go get the old guys that we said we don't do. But yeah, we going to do it. We stopped having part-timers. Now we got part-timers again. AEW.
They never stopped having part timers. That was the thing. They never stopped having part time. Even John Cena from 2016 on was a part timer.
Yeah, and then AEW, same thing. It's like and I'm not even picking on AEW because that's the low hanging fruit that a lot of podcasters do. So and people in general, they get their little hee-hees off clowning AEW. Like, dog, it's not funny anymore. Try different jokes. But I'm saying it's the concept of now the thing is, I will say this about Khan is he's starting to listen, because now in the past couple of weeks, it's actually like, oh yeah, let me let the young dudes cook again. And then Chris Jericho, who I'm gonna leave it alone because Keith's gonna get mad at me if she hear this, but he always got to, not in that way though. I got to be all up in the videos. I got to be all in the song. Like, bro, let the young people cook, bro.
But that was Triple H until COVID, when he was lingering around as the authority, having his 1 to 2 matches a year. And that's because those guys from that era can't let go until his health said, you got to let go.
But he's still up in the videos too, like, bro.
But not to the extent like Chris Jericho is, because Jericho can still get in the ring.
There you go. You said it right. You said it perfect. He get in the ring. After that,
I don't know. I would say this again. That's why I said, like, he's had a few good matches this year, but let's not act like I'm going to say the same thing about John Cena. John Cena should not have had the matches he had this year. He looked horrible.
I agree.
He shouldn't be wrestling at all. Not just because how he looks physically, his heart's not in it. And there's nothing wrong with that, because he's moved on and he knows he's moving on, and he's just repaying the favor is what he's doing.
Like, his last good match was against Solo, but even then it was like, because I think I hit you up and I'm like, time to call it. Like, bro,
it was just time to call it
in 2021
and against Austin Theory. Yeah, well, really, that Roman Reigns match, when it was like there were some flashes, but overall it was like it's gone, because the match at the end of last year, when he only got in the ring to do the 5 moves of doom and then dipped, it was like, obviously, because he's not in wrestling shape is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, you talking about the tag match when he just left the house because they was in Tampa?
Yeah.
Where he lives. He was like, yeah, I'll show up. Cool. That's down the street.
You know, it's not like, this is what I get mad about people, wrestling fans in particular. It's like, you don't understand the basics. It's, you want to look behind the curtain. You want to see Oz, but you don't want to see the basics. Again, why was The Rock on SmackDown that night? There was an actor strike going on. He can't do shit.
Right. And he was in Colorado.
He's all right. I'll go if you want me to. You know, I ain't got shit else to do. Blah, blah, blah. But then, and what's he do? Because he's a political piece of shit. He does. Well, they called me for WrestleMania, but they never gave me an offer. Like, oh, really? Like, no shit. Of course he's lying. He's Dwayne Johnson. Come on.
Like when he said it, he was like, "Yeah, I would have did it," but I was like, "All right, bro, you ain't got to lie to kick it. All right, you could fool them. All these people that came up with it, because again,
he fools everyone. Not me.
You don't fool me.
You know that.
I just want to know his AGH plug if he is on the gimmick. That's what I want to know.
Remember he ripped the fence out of the ground? Come on.
Yeah, that was funny. I was like, all right, bro, you got it. But here's my thing.
Come on. You bought that too?
No, I'm buying the fact that he is a compulsive liar because he's driving a pickup truck in LA. LA is not built for a pickup truck.
Well, he's a wrestler. They're all compulsive liars.
You're right on the money with that, but he might be the biggest because, again, you driving a pickup truck on a 405. Bruh, how? Is your name Juan?
Okay. Again, conservative banks here.
No, but driving a pickup truck in LA is stupid. I don't care who you are, bro. That's you're not going pretty far. And then, like, bro, you got to have murdered out windows. Like, your windows have to be super tinted. Like, imagine seeing a dude 6'2", 270 in a pickup truck, even if it's not the right. You're gonna be like, that big bastard riding around the pickup truck. Oh, they go to Rock.
Remember we talked about how he might actually be 6'4", like he says, because that John Cena, when they were almost like head to head.
No, they said your man said he's 6'2".
He probably is, but it's like John Cena's listed at 6 foot, and he's famously again shorter than Edge, shorter than Randy Orton, shorter than Batista.
Oh yeah, because he dudes 6'5". Yeah, he would be. You said next to dudes at 6'5", 6'6".
That's funny when like The Rock's listed at 6'4" or whatever, and he stands next to John Cena. It's almost like again that's so funny when they went nose to nose, and he was like, "What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?"
It's like this meme I saw, which is hilarious. It was like Russell Westbrook is the same height as everybody in the NBA. They had him next to a 7-footer. He was the same height as a 7-footer. They had him next to people that was like 6'3". He was the same height as them. I was like,
he plays like it.
Yeah, definitely do. Not anymore, but I mean, Russ and Cena, to see them old now is kind of crazy.
That is the thing. I mean, again, Carmelo Anthony's a podcaster now. Like that's the crazy thing. Like, and Carmelo Anthony was probably one of my favorite players of all time. And his career is done. It's not just like, oh, it shouldn't be. It's just like, yeah, it's crazy. Like we saw Carmelo enter and then leave. And now his son's going to get into the league. It's like, that's even crazier.
Yeah. But yet, new GOAT or young GOAT out here being LeBron still playing. I'm like, bro, who is the AGA supplier for him now? He definitely on the gimmick.
Yeah, the ultimate. There's something Brad Pitt say in Inglourious Basterds, we call that suspicious.
Yeah, I want to know what gimmick you on, brother. That's what I want to know.
Aside from the $1 million he spends on his body every year, which may or may not include. Because
that little sleep tank that he got, it's like, all right, bro. I know the upkeep that is probably 6 figures, but that's the one time.
And Dot knows this as well. Like he takes his rest, he skips his games. So this is, I'm not playing in this one. This ain't worth it tonight. So it's that as well, but
not this season. He been playing almost every game, and scoring 30 points. Yeah, I want to know what AGH and where do I get it from? That's definitely ain't the Mexico one.
Well, this is the thing that Ethan and Manny and Cody were talking about. Like, would you take HGH?
I already told them yes. Me and Eve talked about it on Wiretap last month. I already said yes.
Yeah, see, but knowing what it could do to you health wise,
brother, we all gonna die anyway. So what?
Not that. You gonna take a shriveled up dick? Like you gonna
I don't use it much these days. So yeah.
Oh my god. You want the bitch tits like Roger Clemens?
I mean, yeah. Then I could look like Viscera.
Oh my! The world's largest love machine.
And that movie he used to do on SmackDown versus Raw.
Oh, you mean the thrusting? Yeah,
and the camera used to repeat.
I used to get it is Christmas time. I used to get SmackDown versus Raw every year for Christmas because it came out the month before or the month and a half before. So that was always my like Christmas gift.
Big Mike used to get it, or your grandmother?
No, Big Mike, yeah.
I figured.
Until 2011. 2011 was the only one I never played. Everyone's like, that's one of the best ones. I never played the 2011 version.
I think I've had every single one, even though when they went to WWE, just WWE, no 2K, like 13, with Randy Orton on the cover.
WWE, that was WWE 12. That's when I got back in. WWE 13 was the CM Punk one in which she created the Shield based off the promo videos, but no one wants to hear that story again.
Yeah, but he wanted to have Chris Hero in there instead of Roman Reigns. You out your mind.
No, I agree with their logic, but he created the Shield. If you watch those commercials, he created the Shield.
He did, and I mean, he said in that shoot interview with his ex-friend, which is hilarious.
Besides that, just like there are people in riot gear, he himself is wearing a Shield vest. It's like, let's be honest here, people. Just because you don't want to believe someone who you now worship.
Talk to him. Do we need to cut that promo again?
I mean, it's always that's the thing. Like, see,
wait, did we even talk? We did talk about that
a little bit because I had said we were talking about coming back for the money and his schedule again. He's not going to be on TV till January, they said, and it's going to be 2 dates in January. It's like, well, I bet because he can't fucking wrestle, as we saw. Like,
well, his first match is against Dominic, right? God bless.
Dominic Mysterio. I've said this a few times already, but I was so wrong about Dominic Mysterio. Like, and I don't get how you can't improve within 3 years. It's embarrassing at this point.
I like him. He's one of my favorite workers, but he got to get his ball body. I've been saying that.
Why do you like this? Why do you like him? Give me your reason. You can't just
talk.
Give me. No, he
can talk. He can work, but he's still green. He's still like super green. But at the same time, when you jump straight to the roster and you have matches against Seth Rollins, like, yeah, dog, that's not how it's supposed to go.
That's the throwing into the deepest end possible. That's never smart. I agree with that. But he can't talk.
He can't. What are you talking about? He can't talk. He can't talk. I'm about to start sounding like Chad Johnson on the show with Shed Short. Which, side note, I meant to see a clip earlier. Dog, the episode earlier had me in hysterics because he was talking about how beat up Javante. And then he was like, Chad, because he be talking about he could beat up Javante. He talking about he could beat up Terrence Crawford. He be talking about he could beat up people.
He proclaims himself as like the super athlete. That's why. And I'm like,
he would have been a great worker. He could talk.
Well, he was a worker. He's working right now. That's what podcasting is.
Yeah, but him is just, bruh, he be so serious. Like when he talked about, not Big Fat Funky, but when he talked about Keith Lee, he really got mad. Like he got heat with Keith Lee, bruh.
Oh, for the reviews and all that shit and what it does.
Yeah, like I've never seen him that upset. He was legit.
But this is what I mean about the hypocrisy. So you're mad at someone for allegedly tearing down black businesses, but he was the guy wearing the fake jewelry, creating an image of something that guys wanted to attain themselves. So he was living the lie. So now you're mad at someone for being honest? Like,
but my thing is, you eat McDonald's only. Why are you mad? He didn't review McDonald's.
When we talked about that, I don't know if that's when Cody and Eve were on. That must have been. But it felt a callus in my body was like, that's when you can never trust anything he says. I'm a big believer. Like, you can't listen to people who say shit like that.
It's something to that, though.
No, I agree with his logic. In terms of like, I think Devontae Smith has McDonald's on every game day. I'm not saying it's bad to eat McDonald's or there's nothing to it, but to be like, that's why I never got injured and you ate all the healthy shit and worked out, that's why you always got injured, which there's some truth to that as well.
Yeah.
The overworking out and the over preparation, et cetera. So you would know that. I think I'm kind of knowing that as I'm working out more, but to be like, that's why I never got injured and you always did because McDonald's versus a fucking GNC, like.
Yeah, like so that's the only 2 times apparently food just makes him mad. That's the only 2 times I've ever seen him
makes him mad. But that's what you're saying. Like, he's saying he can beat up Javante Davis. It's like, I don't think anyone could.
Then he got mad at the fans. Somebody in the comments said, "See, this is why you talking and you not playing football." He legit got nuclear heat with the dude.
I mean, that's why, and like Cam Newton's just as I'm glad. I mean,
Well, he's just
like,
insane.
Exactly. That's what I'm about to say.
Just say it, man. We got to go back to calling people crazy. Like AB is crazy. It ain't no CTE. He's just crazy.
Again, that's Florida. That's a whole. Again, Florida's its own.
God. Yeah.
That's its own bracket.
No, he from Broward County, bro. They are monsters. So that's what I'm saying.
This is what I was saying a few weeks ago with Kiki. I'm like, you can't. Florida people occupy their own space in the world. You can't lump them in with the craziness of everything else and all that. Like it's like, look where they're from. They have hurricanes, alligators, cocaine.
They got cocaine, perks,
everything.
High blood pressure food, high in salt food. Well, that's just Jacksonville.
But
what else do they got?
But these athletes that become podcasters, I'm glad that these guys.
You know what's the biggest? My fault. You know what the biggest problem is with Florida? You got these people from up north that moved here.
I was waiting on that. I knew it.
You knew I was gonna say that, and I'm not even talking about just New York. I'm talking about like Boston,
taking our jobs, taking our country.
The ones from Delaware, man, they driving up everything.
Oh, so you're blaming the Briscoes? Like, come on.
No, I'm not blaming the Briscoes, man. I go, oh damn, you done made me sad. I just remember my guy died earlier this year. Let's move on before I start getting sad.
But like, I'm glad that the athletes get to reclaim their voice because these guys were picked apart during their playing time, especially because, well, like anytime Cam Newton said something at a press conference, it was like used against him, or every interview in the media. You
ever heard him say, "It's 1,000 ways to skin a lion"?
No, but here's going back to my thing about people being crazy. Like when Cam Newton says, "Here's the difference between a game manager," and then what was the other one?
Like a star player. I forgot how you phrased it.
A playmaker or whatever it was.
Yeah, there you go.
Look at what he's wearing, and then tell me, would you believe anything this man says?
I've never seen nobody, and I'm not the type of person to talk about how people dress.
A fashionable thing, and you dress.
Yeah, because I dress like Mike Tomlin. Just like Mike Tomlin. So I can't talk about it, no offense. But legit, I'm confused about how he dressed. It's like an urban Harry Potter, bro.
So it's two things. It's how he dressed, and then this is why the media was right to pick on him when he was putting his Instagram captions in his fucking avatar language. Like, that's number 2 of why you should never trust anything this man says. This is why on that last episode we did with Big Tim, which I'm glad. I mean, I'm not glad. I'm mad people will never get to hear because he was on fire as well. But when I said there has to be levels to criticism commentary, like Dan Orlovsky should never commentate on Brock Purdy. Should never commentate on Lamar Jackson. Like, you were Dan Orlovsky, you probably won 3 games in your career, probably threw 20 touchdowns through your career.
Yeah, right. Well, somebody said that. I think he said that when he was talking to Shannon Sharp about all this.
But what I mean is, like, so if anytime Pat Mahomes is brought up, you can't say anything. You have to talk about the Zach Wilsons. You have to talk about the Bryce Youngs. You have to talk about the shitty guys. If there's a great guy, we got to bring Steve Young in here because he did great shit. That's why Chad Johnson and Shannon Sharp talk about Jerry and Terrell and Randy Moss. That's comparable because at least Shannon Sharp was the second best tight end of all time. First, depending on Tony Gonzalez.
Unfortunately, now third. Yeah, Tony Gonzalez, and then Travis Kelce cheated, but
Kelce and George Kittle, and so on and so on. And
are you putting George real quick? You put George over Shannon?
No, not right now.
Okay, cool.
The way, if it keeps progressing the way it does, it might be he'll be a top 5 tight end. He's probably already a top 10.
Okay, because I'll keep Shannon at the 3, and then I forgot about Gronk. So we got.
That's what I'm saying. So watch why I'm saying it's either Tony, Gronk, or Shannon in the 1, 2, 3 in any order. I would never be mad at anything like that. But Travis Kelce as a receiver tight end and George Kittle as the complete tight end, because again his blocking is just as important as his pass catching. That's why I said he's probably already top 10. Not just my bias, but like they say the tight ends who block the way he does.
The real tight end.
Yeah. But that's Chad Johnson, he was not better than T.O. or Randy Moss, but he was in their conversation for a number of years, and he would know that as well. So that's the analysis we need to hear. We don't need to hear fucking flame out wide receiver talk about how he should have been better than Justin Jefferson right now or Jamar Chase. That's why analysis gets so skewed, not because the talking head guys, the guys who never played, that's in its own different realm. When Kevin Durant gets mad at the guys who don't play, it's like, well, no shit. That's why they're talking about it, because they're covering the sport. Otherwise, you wouldn't really have that much of a career in the grand scheme. Because if guys who never played didn't cover the sport, it'd be $50 paychecks like it was in the 50s. But the media was needed to boost the appearance of the league in all sports. Because again, in the 1930s and 40s, college football was bigger than pro football, which is crazy to fucking say. But you can't have, like I said, you can't have Dan Orlovsky talk about, if I'm Trevor Lawrence, like, come on, Trevor Lawrence was better than you starting last year. There has to be the levels of critique is what I'm saying.
Understandable, but that's how they ended up at the desk that they are at.
They ended up at the desk they were at because they had a tenure. They didn't have a career. They rode the bench. They got in when the quarterback was injured, and they saw the field from the other side. That's why, like, Brian Scalabrine gets to have his career. And I'm not saying, again, because he's right saying I can beat any guy who thinks they're better than me in one-on-one, like he was doing, challenging one random one-on-one guy. I'm challenging one-on-one guys. And cooking him because he was still a pro basketball player at the end of the day. When he said the 15th man, the 12th man could be any street hooper, he's right. But when they want it, but I'd say maybe it's more different from basketball because the overall part of the team needs to work. So like that 6-man analysis, like Jamal Crawford probably is accurate. That's why like the TNT guys are the way they are, because Shaq, again, huge Hall of Famer.
Top 10 player all time.
Won titles. Charles Barkley was at least an MVP. That's why but Kendrick Perkins being a guy who played a small part on a championship team and then wants to act like he was God's gift to every other team he played for. That's where we don't need to hear his criticism.
Oh, I'm agreeing with you. It's like you said, it's tiers to what it needs to be for you talking about these like titans in the sport. Because it's like
being fully picked apart is what I'm saying. Like JJ Redick is someone who's good at like acknowledging like I had a good career. I was never the best at anything. I had my weaknesses. I had my strengths.
Well, he went to Duke too, so of course you're not gonna be the best at anything.
That as we talked about a few weeks ago, yeah.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but his analysis is smart because again, he was a guy who was a star in college he knew what it was like to lead the team. But then in the pros, it was the opposite for him. I'll trust someone like that more than I'll trust, again, a Kendrick Perkins. Even a Richard Jefferson is more easy to trust because at least he had moments in a career. Definitely more than Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah. All right, so I'll start with football. And then we'll go to basketball because I'm more so – I love football, but I'm more so basketball, Mark. I'm watching Golden State versus Cleveland right now in the Christmas game from a couple of years ago. So with football, because like you said, it's a 54-man roster. Everybody matters on that 54-man roster. It's not like basketball where you can have 15 people on a team, but the first 7-8 players are the most important. And if you got 12-man roster,
guys can carry a team a majority of the nights. Yeah,
Right. 2 guys, sometimes 2 guys. That's good.
I agree. There's like that's what I'm saying. The hard cap is set at 3 guys can carry a team and the rest of the guys cannot hold up their end. Versus football, every piece has to work. But also one guy can be horrible and just drag the whole thing down. Again, which is why I don't trust the bad quarterbacks when they become the announcers. Like,
well,
I know.
Let me ask you this:
2 seasons, Mark Sanchez, but let's not act like again, like in those 2 seasons, that defense carried y'all to the AFC title game. He would probably admit that as well. But
Which seems to be a reoccurring theme for the Jets. My fault.
Well, that's reoccurring for a lot of football teams. That's why when Tom Brady said football is ruined, it's like, you ruined football, motherfucker. Like,
right.
It's
Look
you.
What is it called? What's the phrase? The pot calling the kettle black.
Oh.
Yeah, like, dude, you changed everything when it comes to being a QB. You and Aaron Rodgers have ruined football. All right.
And was it for the better? Yes, because really you shouldn't attack quarterbacks at the legs. That was dirty, if we're being honest.
But they was doing it, bruh. Bart Starr is probably like, fuming at that.
But that's what I'm saying. But this is where we talk about the errors. Whenever we talk about the errors, like, but what equipment did Bart Starr have?
Nothing.
What playbook did he have?
We had a pretty good playbook for him.
But compared to what these guys run now, what was the coverage scheme Bart Starr was facing against? Stick to your man. Like,
yeah, it was just one-on-one. That's all it was. That's what it was even in the NBA back then, but more so in the NFL. That's why, again, people revere Lawrence Taylor as the greatest player of all time, which is yeah. Well, when you run Rookie of the Year and you win MVP, that's kind of wild.
No, I mean, when it doesn't matter what defense you play, you just burst through the line, both lines, yours and the offense.
I gotta watch that Reggie White too, 30 for 30.
See, I saw that. I saw that trailer and I'm like, I really don't care for Reggie White despite him.
Really?
I know he's still the all-time sack leader, right? Well, this has the whole angle about religion. This has the whole angle about religion, and I'm not really into that, as you know.
You got to tread lightly, brother.
The one I didn't watch yet, but it was the Heisman race of '97 with Woodson, Moss, Manning, and Leaf. I might try to check that one out soon.
Same. I'm gonna watch the Reggie White one just because I'm a huge defensive guy. Again, Lawrence Taylor, even though that's way after me or way before my time. When I was younger and I seen the highlights of them, I was like, oh, okay, this is fire. But I'm a defensive guy over scoring. Even though, me and you, and we could talk about Jerry Rice, the whole Jerry Rice, Randy Moss. I've been hearing that. Dude, I've been hearing that debate since 2002. Let's be clear about that. I've been hearing about that debate since then. I remember, of course, they asked the old man, side note about this conversation, then I'll get back to Reggie White. I remember they asked the old man, Jerry Rice, even back then. It's the same thing with Jim Brown, and Jim Brown and
OJ. James Brown would probably be right about like no one came close to James Brown after James Brown.
Well, he was running through. Never mind. But no, it's the same thing that OJ said about Jim Brown. Like when he passed his record, he was like passive aggressive about it. Jerry Rice was doing the same thing. Like if you ask him now, he'd probably be a little bit cool with it. But Eric Dickerson, when not Ray Rice, but when AP his MVP year, when he was close to breaking Eric Dickerson record, Eric Dickerson wasn't even passive aggressive. He was straight up with it, like, man, he ain't gonna pass me.
Well, Eric Dickerson's kind of a notorious asshole. But I think a lot of these guys are assholes. But this is when we get to the conversation about, and this is all Michael Jordan's fault, about, even though he wasn't the first guy, he was just like the greatest player to have that much confidence, that much killer instinct to the point where fuck you forever. Fuck anyone who's going to come after me. Fuck everyone. It's, that's the thing where like, as much as they say Larry Bird had that killer instinct, the going into the 3-point contest saying who's going to come in second tonight, because he's saying he's already going to win it. But obviously with The Last Dance, and this is why I hated Kobe Bryant for this stigma he was trying to create, and this mantra being Mamba mentality and the next Michael Jordan, and doing all these false narratives to be a bad teammate and work harder than everyone, and what you'll get out of it is success. Just for him to kind of walk that back later because he became a girl dad and was a coach is just like the phoniness of it all. And that's when you're saying like, yeah, these guys get passive aggressive because they don't want to be surpassed. They don't want to be forgotten. And that's what it's about. Because the record books would say Adrian Peterson rushing leader in a single season, not Eric Dickerson. And then time forgets you, history forgets you, people move on. And some guys care about that. And I didn't watch the Barry Sanders doc that came out
I did.
a few weeks ago. But famously, Barry Sanders is the best running back who just gave up. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but he just said, like, I'm out.
Brother, if you play for the Lions, you'll give up too. Today is the first day of this recording. They've won something in a division since '93 when he was there.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. I agree with that as well. Like, why am I going to play to suffer? You know what I mean? But he.
And by the way, too, sorry to cut you off. By the way, too, that documentary wasn't necessary, but I watch sports documentaries because I'm a sports super mark anyway. But Barry Sanders. Yeah, Barry Sanders is my favorite running back ever, then Emmitt Smith, believe it or not. But Barry Sanders, if y'all want to see how great he was at route running, like, dog, he was literally playing. It was like AI dribbling the ball. It was literally and one with him. Like, up, step back, left, right. Like, I've never seen feet movement like that in my life.
And that's the thing. It's like he was doing that at Oklahoma State. He was this revolutionary guy, and he just, I'm out. And he could have. After 10 years, he could have had 5 more years and taken every record and wouldn't have mattered. But and I don't know if that dog gave his reason or if he just
said he was over it. He just said that's it. I just don't want to do this no more. And then his pops wasn't cold blooded. Like I remember watching the E60s. Remember those on ESPN?
Mm-hmm.
Or like I think the NFL. I'm sorry, the NFL documentaries is the first thing I seen when his pops was in it. His pops was like. It was just a motivation habit. He was proud of him, but he would always say, because he old school, like, you're not better than Jim Brown.
Yeah.
Like, Jim Brown was like Bill Russell to the NFL.
Yeah. For a lot of
That's all it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just like you was that. And ironically, they were cool. So it's just like, that's how the old heads look. It's like with me and you, well, more so for me, it'll be a conversation like it is now as I'm getting older, God willing, where it'd be like, man, he wasn't better than Tom Brady. And then it's like we got Pat Mahomes, so who probably could surpass Tom Brady. But then it's gonna be like 20 years from now, man, he wasn't better than Pat Mahomes. It's the thing about sports and life in general is, yeah, you can break these records. This is what Davis is basically saying, everybody. These guys don't want these records to be broken because you will be forgotten, but that's just life in general, dude.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, 30 years from now, when LeBron is still playing, they might forget that he surpassed Kareem for all-time leading scorer. It's just because people forget history to begin with, and especially as we get older and as things progress in life.
Especially for wrestling, that's what I always say. Like, people don't want to acknowledge history. Because then their viewpoint gets skewed and they don't like that.
Right. It's like the whole thing of, because again, I do my research. I watch stuff. Like I actually watch it. I don't watch highlights. Like I was watching Starrcade 83 the other day. When wrestling was real wrestling. They was men. They was locking up. Abdullah the Butcher gave Carlito. Yeah, Carlito has a dad that wrestled people in Puerto Rico. He gave him color, but the match was fire. It wasn't no extreme match, but he got bladed and it was still a great match. But when you think about Bruno Sammartino's record, and he didn't even pass that long ago, they talk about the record now because of Roman Reigns and not because of Bruno Sammartino having the title for that long. And again, he didn't pass away that long ago.
And that's what I've said the whole time of like, that's why this Roman Reigns thing isn't ending, even if he had an injury that sidelined him for 6 months, because he hasn't defended the title for 6 straight months. And that argument of the 30-day clause, the champion must defend the title or it's vacated, went out the window when Brock Lesnar was champion, and now is carried over to Roman Reigns, whoever will be champion, that they deem isn't worthy. That's why it's bad in AEW with MJF, which is what they were going to try to do with CM Punk being the interim champ, and when he created the interim champion when he had his injury last year.
Dumb as shit.
Well, that mirrors boxing and MMA. And that's why it's funny when you hear all these guys, the guy who booked MLW, the guy who booked Evolve, they talk about they want wrestling to be real. They want to take influences from MMA. They want wrestling to be as real as it can. And I'm like, you can't make wrestling real. It's impossible. And it's not because
fictional characters. Fictional characters.
Not just because of that, because they say like we'll want the real technical wrestling and we want it to have that sports feel. It's like at the end of the day, sports still relies on entertainment. MLW has wacky cartoony characters. Evolve had people with characters and personalities. At the end of the day, you need that something extra to get going. MMA, Colby Covington, he is Mr. MAGA. He's their personality. Another fight like Conor McGregor was the ultimate personality. He was the ultimate Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, man on the mic. No one can touch him, etc. I mean, this year, let's run through it. So real quick,
brother.
So Conor McGregor this year, he had the great video of Henry Cejudo after his fight. He was like, Henry, you were doing this. And I had never fucking seen that. Holy shit. He's like one of my favorite videos of the year. He showed up to bare knuckle fighting was given their belt and said, I haven't even fought here. And they've given me the belt. He knocked out the Miami Heat mascot.
Clean.
Legit. No
shoot, all shoot.
Authentic. He's built like a man doing anything and everything. And then
he's built like Wolverine now.
Legit. That would be decent casting, to be honest.
Like he got no neck, pause, which made me realize, he ain't got no neck. He all shoulder blades now.
As someone who's kind of working out their shoulder blades like that, I'm almost kind of getting worried about that. He 5'7",
his spaced out from me. Both of y'all midgets. Oh, I can't say midget. But,
you just did.
Well, both of you people, small people, the Irish. He got Ultimate Warrior style plays, bro.
Yeah, that's a good comp. He's got the Ultimate Warrior body on a 5'7" person.
I think he did get banned. You got to, bro. You wilding. You can't clean. You can't waffle the mascot.
I think he had another assault allegation along that lines, like he's had the last 5 years. He had his Netflix docuseries come out, which is pretty good. However, at Chronic, it's the last 40 minutes of Goodfellas. It's not the fun stuff; it's the bad stuff.
Yeah, him going to sleep.
Yeah, it's not like how the first 2 hours of Goodfellas is like, this shit is awesome. The last 40 minutes are like, whoa, we should never.
He got his receipts.
How did we get here? The
got his receipt, brother.
Because it's post the Floyd fight, and that's when he peaked. Like, imagine beating Jose Aldo. Imagine beating Eddie Alvarez, sold 2 titles at once. Imagine going to war with Nate Diaz twice, and then you get to box. You get to box Floyd Mayweather for $100 million. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. You got the check. It's set in stone. And their world tour press conference, the media, this and all that, life peaked for him at that moment. So the doc did a good job chronicling, post that.
Well, all time, Conor, I tip my hat off to him. Hell of a fighter. Hell of a fighter.
You'll do nothing.
They only made one money Mayweather.
He's got brittle hands.
He got brittle hands.
He's got brittle hands. He can't even
The Merriweathers.
Fuck the Merriweathers.
Goodness.
He was arguing with the dad. He said,
"Oh yeah, no, the dad,
Roger
Floyd Senior is hilarious."
And Floyd Senior and yeah.
I beat your, Floyd Senior. I beat your. You ain't gonna do that.
The loud stuff isn't even good. The quiet stuff with him is better. He's like, he's too old. No, he's like, he's too old.
He's too old. My son gonna whoop your ass.
Yeah, the quiet stuff with them is top tier promo.
Some of the greatest, some of the greatest promo battles ever.
He's too old. He's not quick, and he's just like. He doesn't have the speed. His hands, and it's like, wow.
But the Diaz brothers, greatest promos in history, bro.
They are the worst because fuck you, Fuck you. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you. I'm going to go smoke weed. Fuck you. It's just like, you're not a good, that's why I don't think Eddie Kingston's a good promo. Eddie Kingston, what am I going to do? I'm going to talk to the camera about how I got to talk to the camera. What am I going to say? Oh, I'm a wrestler, but oh, that's not that. Oh, yeah. Like, no.
But you got to remember, he looked like he came straight from the Amazon warehouse, bro.
That doesn't help the point when you're like, I'm an average guy here wrestling. I'm from New York, baby. Like,
you just called him evil. You called him Wario.
He is,
dude. Straight up. And then the thing. Let me not talk about the work rate. Go ahead before I start talking.
No, it's up and down is what I'll say with the work rate. And this is what I was saying about Daniel Garcia. Like, to me, and I feel like this way about a lot of people, not just because again, it seems to be AEW centric, but not everyone can talk. That's the hardest thing wrestling. That's why
98% of workers can't talk. But
that's why The Rock stood out. That's why Stone Cold was Stone Cold Steve Austin, because
Mankind.
Because he was Steve Austin, the wrestler, phenomenal. And he was he's a slept on talker during that Stunning Seed period. But
real quick, I gotta admit, while Vin is here, I hit up your arch enemy as well, which is his co-host. I'm gonna let everybody know.
Van's my arch enemy, not X.
Well, him as well. So you just hate everybody from New York. I'm with you. Anyhow.
Yeah, because X is from Chicago. I have no beef with. I'm not stupid. I know I'm an idiot, but I'm not beefing with Chicago. I'm not stupid.
Oh, X go, gee, why you say that about me, G? So X gonna say, love X too. Shouts out to my brother. But no, I had to admit, I was unfamiliar with your game. I want to apologize. Yeah, Stone Cold is way better than The Rock. I was tripping.
See that's
work rate and promos, bro.
Well, work rate, that's a given. Even though I'm a defender of The Rock in terms of being an underrated wrestler, he was. Especially in 2001. Those 2 years, yeah.
He could sell. I hate them. I hate the work punches that slap. Yeah. It's spitting his hand and all. I hated that. I hate the stomps, but no, the reason why I say that,
like the little, like he was,
yeah, like he got to wiggle his foot when he stomped people. Yeah, I hated that. But no, I said it because the dude had people in the palm of his hands eating. I mean, The Rock had it too, but Stone Cold. So the glass break, people act like Jesus was showing up. Like his promos was based, like, all right, this is what I said. He was the same character, but you've seen it in different varieties. When he was heel in 97, when he was supposed to be the heel, but then he was over as a mega baby face. When he was going against the corporation, he was just a baby face, but acting like a heel. When he's joined up with Vince, he was just a heel, but it was funny. Then when he just became Stone Cold again, it was just like, oh, this is old man Steve Austin. Bruh, he was saying the same thing over and over, but it was amazing. I'm just gonna whoop a man's ass. I'm about to whoop a man's ass. Like, bro, that's it. He said the same thing over and over, and it got over. This dude is great.
The worst of him talking is him as a heel during the 2-man power trip era, like you brought up. Because when he did the Jim Ross, why are you looking at me like that? It's the way my face is. It's just like bad TV. Just like
they were bored.
I got Bell's palsy. It's why my face looks like that. Why are you looking at me like that then? Like,
that was foul too, but Vince hated
that. They
JR.
were trying to. They were besides that. Yeah, they were trying to do anything to get him hated, to get him heat, and that's where. And heat is so cheap these days to come by. That's why I don't think Dominic Mysterio is good. That's why a lot of these wrestlers aren't good as heels.
Here we go. But how is he getting cheap heat though? That's not cheap heat. That's regular. He's getting regular heat just by being himself.
Because he's not a good wrestler. That's
wow. Here we go.
Like me. Like
on the base. Yeah, well, that's a no. He definitely looks like a Little Caesars worker.
And then he talks about how my dad's a bum. That's the cheapest. Like, your dad's Rey Mysterio. You're calling this man a bum? Come on. That's the cheapest kind
of. He don't do it no more. He just out here dirty macking with Rhea. And I understand. Because now it's getting a little. Now, no, I'll be honest, it's getting a little weird now. I see the IG post. I'm like, all right, now it's
they're
getting a little weird.
working. That you gotta.
Yeah, they working all right.
Yeah, you gotta work the gimmick.
Okay, cool. I'm working something else, brother. If it's Rhea
All right.
Ripley. But
We gotta get to this before we forget.
okay.
Zack Synder.
Okay, that's where we go. That's how we transition.
We gotta talk about it because as someone who is a former Snyder head, we've talked about this before.
A Snyder head. Let me write that down.
That's what the fans were called. Van would know. X would know.
No, I've never heard that ever, and I've been knowing who Zack Synder is since 05, bro.
See, this is where I'm like, Van has terrible points because he brought up the point how he hates dinosaurs and how they're worthless, especially in movies. And I agree. Like, that's why I don't care about Jurassic Park. I do like Jurassic World a lot, the first one. But I never give a fuck about dinosaurs in anything. Like, I've just never cared about only Reptar. That's the only time I've cared about dinosaurs. Those Rugrats episodes that are like Reptar focused are the best. But when Van and X are like, the Snyder cut's good, I was like,
it was.
Okay, see, all right, now the three of y'all need help.
We talked about it on air, dude. What are you talking about?
It's 2 years later and something's wrong with y'all because
almost 3 years, which is crazy to say.
Look at me and then look at that movie and then look at Rebel Moon and tell me.
Wait, you basing on? Wait, hold on. Yeah, you are, because you basing on something that was cut, edited, that was shot way before this.
But was his desire to put out?
Because they buried him.
No. A man, they gave him the Snyder cut he wanted.
Yeah.
They gave
that was the original movie.
Yeah, the aspect ratio, the original scenes. They reshot the bullshit with Ben Affleck at the end, et cetera, et cetera. You know, they caved and he was a man left to his own devices. And that's what we got in 2021.
They did it as a consolation prize because, one, he got buried by Warner Brothers because they don't know how to book anything. Because I keep trying to tell y'all that Godzilla movie's about to be horrible. They don't know how to book anything. And then number two, because of that prick, that no good son of, in the words of JR, he buried. No, not him. The jabroni that did the Justice League. What's his name that did Avengers? The bald-headed.
Joss Whedon. Yeah,
that bald bastard. So he buried the movie as well. So they did it as a consolation prize.
But the two things that Warner Brothers had Barbie, but they also let Chris Nolan go. They also pushed Chris Nolan away inadvertently. So it's like you want to fight.
They don't need him no more.
Oppenheimer made $900 million for Universal, so
because of memes.
Money's money.
No, that's what I'm saying. Hey,
no, money is money, and that's what they need, considering they wanted to merge with Paramount. So, again, they don't know how to book, is what you're saying, and you're right.
They don't know how to book. They don't know how to market. They don't have anything that was a draw. Dude, freaking New Line Cinema, who is under Paramount, could do Barbie, and it'll draw.
New Line Cinema is under Warner Brothers.
Okay, well, New Line Cinema could do it. All right, Tyler Perry could do Barbie, and it'll still draw money.
He could not. Trust me, he could not.
I'm saying it's the property of Barbie. Anybody could do it, dude.
It was a joke.
What was a joke? Barbie?
That they were going to make a Barbie movie. Like how?
No, but they knew it was going to draw money.
You and I debated this for months. We were like 600 million. I think a little bit more than that. Then you're like, I don't know, this trailer. We debated it for months.
Yeah, 600 million.
No one saw a bill.
Well, I had to think about it. You got older women or older people in general that grew up with Barbie. Then you got younger people. When I seen little babies, taking pictures with kayfabe Barbies, I said, okay, yeah, this is about to make $1 billion. They
were right about Barbie, but then they're wrong about 95% of other things. That's
98.
They got Dune.
Again, another property somebody else can do. They taking properties like Godzilla that somebody else can do. They don't have anybody that knows how to book over there.
Movies have been bad though. Again, I saw Kong Skull Island in theater. It was okay.
Yeah, you using the term okay loosely. Just say mid.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like it had its moments.
They don't know how, bro. They don't know how to book. They don't have any writers over there. They done switched presidents like 20 times. The Jabroni, I forgot that was over there during the time of this DCEU. And I hate. Let me be clear. I've said it before. I'm gonna say it again. Them universe movies are dead. The only one I will go for is because I'm a video game mark. Is because of Illumination does this actual Nintendo World stuff. Cool, that's fine because Super Mario movie is in my top 3 movies of this year, and I think you can do that phenomenally. I haven't seen that movie 7 to 8 times. I think you can do that and then ultimately make a Smash Brothers movie because it's all animated. But again, with Warner Brothers, they don't know how to book. They don't know how to do anything. And then ironically, AEW is under them, so there you go.
Well, yeah, that's why their whole scenario is hilarious. But they were right to let Zack Synder go. But
on the basis of what?
He was the wrong guy to helm their franchise.
I don't think so.
I like Man of Steel. I'm a Man of Steel defender. It has its it has its really good moments. It has its weaknesses, but it's clearly the second or third best DCEU movie.
You had a list in front of you, or you want me to pull it up?
We
don't have to go through every single movie, but
it would probably be Aquaman. And when I rewatched the first Wonder Woman, I was kind of let down because it seemed better in the theater. But that would be third to me. So it'd probably be Aquaman, Man of Steel, and then Wonder Woman.
We forgot about the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that does count. So that would be number one thing. Yeah.
The Resident Suicide Squad, I like it, but it would be at the bottom. I don't even think we can count the Snyder cut because the Snyder.
No, I said at the time, I said this. It was better than what we got, but it's still not a good movie. In terms of, it was better than the movie that they put out in theaters, but it's still not good.
I hit a vent about this. I might go with Aquaman being their best movie.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I think I might go with that.
The Suicide Squad, I think, is better than Aquaman, but it's a split decision fight. Because the Suicide Squad, I was mad I didn't see it in the theater, but I was glad that I watched it that Friday on HBO Max and then watched it the next day, the Saturday morning, because it was that good, and I could. That's why we were so lucky in 2021 to have HBO day and date.
That was a hilarious time too, just because you was like, "Did you watch the Suicide Squad?" I was like, "No, I'm drunk watching the Olympics."
Yeah, you're
watching. I fell asleep.
USA versus La France. But
yeah, and the USA barely winning. Good time.
See, that was something I was gonna. Maybe I'll ask this at the end. But back to Zack Snyder. But they were right to let him go because his ideas, they're not right for any franchise. He creates Rebel Moon to be his Star Wars replacement because years ago he was mentioned as a director for episode 7. He was on their short list for a little bit. Like Jon Favreau was on their short list. Funny enough, he got the Mandalorian. That's why it worked out the way it did. But ultimately, they went with J.J. Abrams, the safest pair of hands they thought, and that turned out to be right. But
one day we'll have a conversation about him as well.
Oh, he's a scam artist as well. I agree.
Okay, let's move on.
after the first Star Trek, he never made anything. I mean, I do like The Force Awakens, but that doesn't count because he copied and pasted the movie and had some cooler tricks to use. But regardless,
and it was a bad movie until the end.
No, I like The Force Awakens.
I'm tripping. The Skywalker, the
Rise of Skywalker is a dog shit movie. I knew that.
Yeah, the fight at the end was the only good thing, and that wasn't even that great.
That's not good. No, none of that movie is good. There's not a single good thing in that movie. But he was supposed to do like a Seven Samurai type Star Wars movie, kind of like a Knights of the Old Republic, that video game. I think that's what he pitched as his secondary idea if he wasn't going to be given the Luke Skywalker type stories, and they turned him down. So he came up with Rebel Moon with his screenwriter, college friend, and the guy who worked on Army of the Dead with him, Shay Hatton, who is now the overseer of the John Wick franchise. unfortunately, because he's a hack as well. And that's why we're kind of in this predicament with Rebel Moon, where it was 2 hours and 20 minutes of nothing. It just existed. It was tropes on tropes on tropes. And obviously, because it's, I always say this, and this is when I get mad at directors who say Kurosawa, like, only Kurosawa can make Kurosawa movies. You can't make your Kurosawa movie. It's impossible. So for him to be like, this is my Seventh Samurai, obviously with my Star Wars blended in and purely original, and one guy said people hate it because it's an original movie. No, people hate it because it's a boring movie. Nothing happens in it.
Mm-hmm. It just looks really good.
No, it doesn't look good. The slow-mo fights don't hit the same.
Cinematography? I like the cinematography.
No, this is the worst cinematography he's had since Army of the Dead. Like, he's gotten worse.
Well, the budget is Netflix too. You got to think about that.
No, they gave him all the money. That's why he went there.
How much? $300 million budget?
I'd imagine it was in the 200. Yeah.
Well, no, 300 is way too much for him or anybody at this particular moment.
Well, they shouldn't give him any money. That's what I told you after the movie. I said no studio should ever give this man money. Oh, it's 166 million apparently is what's
okay. That's probably why.
For both parts, because this was a part 1 that was released this past week, and that's why it was so.
You think they're gonna greenlight the second one?
The second one, no, it's already in the can. It's coming out.
Oh, it's already done. Oh yeah, he shot it back to back in 2001.
It was designed to be split in two because it was designed to be like a 4-hour Snyder cut, and they said let's not do that. Let's put out part 1 and part 2 because it'll be easier to access. It was basically like what Kill Bill did.
Yeah, they did shoot that in 2021 because I remember they showed like the end of the year set production. So you had 2 years to get this right.
And none of it's right. Charlie Hunnam, he admitted he wanted to do a Belfast accent, and he can't. And I love Charlie Hunnam, but his accent, he's like, oh, I'm not really sure what I'm doing here, but I'll help you on your mission. Like, and he has the worst character trope of all time in the movie. Ray Fisher, who this whole Justice for Ray Fisher, Justice for Cyborg campaign was launched during the Snyder Cut story. Zack Synder was a huge fan of his, apparently, and then he shows up in this movie and does fuck all. So some big defender of this guy he was. Like, he puts Ray Fisher in this movie, and he's in it for 10 minutes. It's ludicrous that this man is going to get another opportunity after this. And he says he wants to tell smaller stories, and that never fucking happens with him. He
always had, I'll say this, he always has ideas. Because remember the whole, I was supposed to put Deathstroke in the Justice League movie, and then I was thinking about making an Arkham Asylum movie. So he has these ideas, but I think he pitches it. I will give Warner Brothers credit to them. He probably pitches these ideas, and they're like, yeah, because the movie with the girls at the school that he did after, what's the name of that movie? After he
Sucker
did
Punch.
Yeah, remember it was supposed to be a Sucker Punch too.
Sucker Punch has great sequences, but it is a bad movie with wacky performances.
Essentially,
it was wrong message.
Very wrong message, because it was the feel-good movie after he did Watchmen. That's why. So it was like, all right, he brought his whole team over when he did Watchmen, because, I mean, that's nothing wrong with that. People do that all the time. But he brought his team over to do Watchmen, to do Sucker Punch, and it was like, okay. Then the casting for it was just like a whole thing behind the scenes, and I can get in details about that. I don't have too much information, but I know enough people that knew the behind the scenes. It wasn't nothing like problematic. It was just he was more hands-on with the casting, and as people notice, he's very indecisive. I think that's the biggest problem with him. He has all these good ideas on paper, but he seems to be, when it's time to really get the rolling, no pun intended, he gets indecisive. Like, he does very good shot selection, I think. He's good at that. Like, he's mastered that medium shot more so than most people I've seen in a long time. the thing is with his directing is I think he's like not very hands-on, which I understand because you got to let the actors play. That's what I've been learning forever. You got to let the actors, well, most good directors will let you just play, and then they there to adjust. It's just like a coach. But with him, I think he just let the actors just do everything. And he's not a little bit too hands-on as much as he should be. So, and then his writing is just, I've never been a big fan of his writing because, again,
a writer. Yeah,
because it's kind of like, where are we going with the story? And then it's just like a lot of chuffa, as the great Bruce Willis said.
100%, because all this stuff on the farm about the harvest and these folksy people who live in the future is 40 minutes, 40 minutes, and it should be 10 minutes.
That's a 4-page script at the most.
Yeah.
The sides should be 4 pages at the most. We need 4 pages of dialogue at the most. Let's get this. This should be no more than 5 to 10 minutes. And no, 10 minutes too long. It should be 5 minutes for this set.
And then it's too like explanatory and whimsical at the same time, where I was the daughter of the great general. He trained me to be the ultimate killer. Little did he know that was killing me inside. It's, you know what I mean? It's a lot of bullshit like that, where it's like, you aren't, again, like the whole point of like his Watchmen, and Alan Moore says this, even though Alan Moore hates everything that's ever been done. He's like, he just didn't get what I was trying to say with Watchmen at all in terms of the Watchmen comic. It seemed like, and Damon Lindelof didn't want to say what Watchmen had to say either. Damon Lindelof had the great thing to say, had a response to Watchmen instead of adapting it. That's why that show worked. Because Damon Lindelof said, fuck this. This is what this should be now. Like, the Rorschach would be a white supremacist or an idol for white supremacy. And everything else that happened. That's why that show was so brilliant. And Zack Snyder just sees Watchmen as something to get his ideas in. And his ideas a lot of time are men are cruel just to be cruel. Like, the guys who are left to watch over the villagers are just the stereotypical meathead soldiers who want to rape the women and then kill everyone. It's just those basic storytelling, and he has a lot of that in his work, just to show people are evil. I don't think that's what he thinks at all. I think he's like, here's what evil guys are to me. They want to do this and only this. You know what I mean? That's one of his go-to tropes. Like, the comedian does that in Watchmen. Sucker Punch is a movie about that. Army of the Dead has that for a theme. The guy who runs the tent, he tries to do something along the lines of that. So, like, for Zack Snyder, like, the cruelest thing a man can do is this act, and that's how I'm showing these guys. That's how I'm showing these guys are the most evil. And it's like, well, no shit. That's something where it's fundamental. It's it's
no character development.
Yeah, it's just like, the secondary guy is evil, but guess what? The guy leading the squad's even more evil. Ha ha ha. And then there's a nice guy in the squad, and he wants to defend the girl. It's just what? And then
it's very Disney writing. And I mean no disrespect, because there's some Disney movies that are written real well.
Yeah.
But it's basically no character development. It's just for you to gawk at it, so to speak. Like the zombie movie that came out in 2021 we talked about, that you just mentioned, with Dave Bautista. It's like, dude, I feel like some of these actors, like, fucking, where are we going with this character? Where are we going with this scene? Okay. That's
purely an idea movie. A heist during a zombie.
You can say that about most of his movies, though.
No, I agree. But that's a premise I could see why a studio would be like, go on, a heist during a zombie apocalypse?
Well, it's Netflix. It's like, if you got any original idea, we're going to take it. Because the stream ain't worth a fuck anyway, so.
That movie is really about a father and a daughter reuniting, and unfortunately, he had a very tragic passing in his family with his daughter, and that movie was like catharsis for him. That's why he made that movie in a way, and he's kind of acknowledging that as well within that movie, along with like, I'm just going to do action that I should have done, because he made the Dawn of the Dead remake that people liked, and people were like, that's his best movie is Dawn of the Dead. So
Again, if it's an original idea, he's not gonna cook. But if it's based on a comic, which intellectual property, which is most of his stuff, then think about it. Like his. And I didn't finish my phrase, so my fault. I didn't finish my phrase. So for me to try to even sound smart, like, oh, think about it, like no.
You're right, because 300. That's why 300 is his biggest success, because it's everything he's about. It's
a comic.
It's violence. It's basic storytelling. It's bodies, the male body. He's talked about how he's obsessed with the male body and how Frank Frazetta, the artist, was a big influence on him in the way he drew abs and muscles and these powerful heroes that were the star of these comic strips. He cares about that. He cares about the look, the cosmetics, and the story of 300 is the underdogs die. It's again dry, and again, and 300 is the same thing. The Dominic West character with the Queen, it's the exact same thing. Like how evil of a guy is his character? He's going to do this to a woman,
right? So again, like Ben just said, and you haven't said it, but I'll say it. It's just he has an eye for shot selection and cinematography.
That was my thing at first, but it's been gone for years now, is my point. Halfway through BVS, it was generic filmmaking. Like, this guy's lost that thing, which was what made him famous. The famous, like, Zack Synder, shot. It's gone now. It's all just put a camera there and let's see what happens. There's no image in this movie where I'm like, wow, what a great shot.
You also have to consider, though, produce, quote unquote, because it's like Netflix has producers, but who the fuck are the producers? They're not known.
His wife is his main producer.
And then conflict of interest comes in.
But she talked about how, and this is what I was trying to say to you yesterday in terms of I haven't read his full Hollywood Reporter story because they did a whole feature about him, but I read the first paragraph about it, and let me look it up right now so I can quote the game he was playing correctly, because it's what led for him to make this movie. Yeah, so he was going through a Fortnite phase. What started as a bonding activity with one of his sons had spiraled into a solitary obsession with the 57-year-old filmmaker, sneaking off at any chance he had to play the world-building game. One night, about a year ago, his wife and producing partner, Deborah Snyder, woke to find him not in their bed, but logged onto the console. It was 3:00 in the morning, the last straw. Soon after, Deborah bought her husband some clay and tools and suggested, why don't you just make something? So he wanted to play video games, like you're saying. Like, he wanted to do something to get his mind off. And her ass was like, get to work.
Sounds like a woman.
Yeah.
It's working till you die. Like, damn, bro, I can't sit up here and play Spider-Man too.
I guess not, but you were trying to say, like, maybe he's best off writing plots for video games. I don't even think that would work.
Which is a market people don't want to tap into. Like, dude,
I agree.
We are in a global epidemic far as money. Like, this is about to be, Great Depression standards. People still buying Nintendo Switches, man, and PS5s. Because you know why? Thank you. And you got to go through it. When you going through it, when you broke, hey, Spider-Man don't think I'm broke right now. Kratos don't think I'm broke. I'm playing this PS5. Like, bro.
Okay, you ain't got to go that far.
Like, so you playing these games. And then, again, because humans are demanding of being in control of everything, including their destiny. I know you said I'll be sounding like, what's the name? Like, I'll be speaking like my guy from Interstellar. Like, I'm just in this world, man. But yeah, you be talking. You said I talk like Matthew McConaughey. Like, I'm just in the bubble and hope it busts.
Aren't we all just here existing?
Right, in this one intergalactic space. But it's the fact of that's his cop out. Probably he doesn't seem like he does drugs or drink or anything like that, because you could tell to a certain degree the people that do that. With him, he's just a real artsy dude.
He was an artsy fartsy dude who wanted to be a meathead.
Yeah, you said that 2 years ago.
Yeah. Well, if anything you ever read about him, every time you hear him talk, he talks about, my mom.
With the glasses.
Not just that, when I made fun of him that one time, but he talked about how his mom forced him to be a painter. He famously went to Wesleyan at the same exact time as Michael Bay. And what did Michael Bay say in his favorite movies? That great French YouTube channel where he talks about how he was on the baseball team, he was doing this and that, and then he had to take a class on musicals, and he was like, "Oh, I gotta take a class on musicals," and it forced him to watch West Side Story finally, and he watched it, and he said, "I loved it, and I loved it for the editing." It's like it's everything skipped over him story wise. He loved how the movie was made, and you can see the similarities between the two of these guys. And famously, there are a lot of stories in the past, like Zack Synder has a weight set on set so he can work out in between takes. And his wife is just as jacked, and he has these giant tattoos, and he wears these 3-piece suits. It's like this guy wants to be
Cody Rhodes.
He wants to be everything, and that's where it falls apart. If you watch him, it's funny, given the work that they've done is like. But the Russo brothers have a YouTube channel, and they have a podcast on it where they talk to other filmmakers, and they talk to Zack Snyder, and it's baffling to hear these guys talk to each other. Just in terms of like the pretentiousness and just like maybe you aren't as smart as you think you are, and some of the stuff is really overthought. When Snyder talks about the DC franchise, it's just like you understand why he's not the right guy when he says anything relating to Superman or the other superheroes. It's just like, what the fuck were you? He said, I was trying to say this, I was trying to do that, I wanted it to be like these paintings. It's like you got the wrong fucking guy. As much as James Gunn might be the wrong guy from like a tone perspective, in terms of how do you put his wackiness into something classical, he's still a great visual filmmaker. And he has his kind of shaky cam moments, but I mean, he made the No Sleep Till Brooklyn Warner in Volume 3. Like, that's an achievement of filmmaking.
Right. And you know, with going back to Snyder, we're still talking about him. With him, it's more so, yeah, when you read about him, it's like, all right, I want to be everything. And it's like, you can do that. But when it comes to film,
he wants to be this idea of himself. You know
yeah.
I mean? Yeah.
But and so then that could be a conflict when you're trying to do filmmaking, particularly when you're directing. If he was acting, it would be a little bit different just because most actors are a little bit out there because they have so many they draw from so many, or great actors draw from some type of creative form, a lot of different places. But then there's some actors that don't. They just like, dude, I just look at it as a job. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just look at it as a job.
We've talked about that long before, about the actors who do it because the money and the actors who do it because the work drives them. And that's what you were right a few minutes ago when you said his relationship with actors, and that's why I brought up the Charlie Hunnam thing. It's like Charlie Hunnam probably came up to him and was like, I really want to do this accent, and I bet Zack Snyder's like, yeah, go ahead, because he doesn't care, or like he won't know that it's not going to work. Because Charlie Hunnam said they had to ADR the lines because a lot of people couldn't understand him until post-production.
Well, I couldn't understand him in Pacific Rim either, so.
Well, that's him doing the American accent was always tough. If you watch Sons of Anarchy,
yeah,
his American accent is I can't really imitate it that hard. It's just a lot of like talking like this. It's tough guy talk.
Well, because he was the worst actor in the whole film or the whole series anyway.
Or Pacific Rim, and this is when I get my Del Toro hate. Like,
don't do that. Tread lightly.
He's not as good as a lot of people think he is either.
No, he's great. He's great, and you tripping.
All right, Blade 2. We got to stop overrating Blade 2, okay?
What?
Hellboy is great.
Blade 2 is his best movie.
I'd rather watch Hellboy. Even Hellboy 2 was good. I haven't seen it forever, but I liked Hellboy 2 when I saw it.
It was. The Golden Army, that was all right.
Yeah.
I liked it. First one classic, though.
But again, I told you the whole point of Blade 2 was for Wesley Snipes to show off his karate, because that's why he has that scene where he's doing.
Bro, one of the greatest action movies ever.
Like, it's like 30 guys. Like,
yeah. Bro. Ooh, so exciting. Like, bro, one of the greatest movies ever made. Straight action.
Okay. We had this discussion before, because I think you picked it in the action movie draft, because I think that's when I saw it for the first time.
Again, I think that movie 20 years old now, too.
And it's 98, isn't it?
No. That was the first one.
02. Yeah, it's 02. Yeah, so it's over 20 years. Yeah.
time moving. But
you're right. Like, and I think that's why maybe actors want to work from. That's why I'm saying, like, as much as Ray Fisher was speaking out in terms of his support for Snyder, he agreed to do this movie, and maybe that's why he agreed to the shitty part. Because this guy was going to let him do. And Ray Fisher's a bad actor in this movie, and I didn't think he was a bad actor in the Snyder cut. Like everyone agreed, like, it did justice for Cyborg. It made him a better character and a better performance. But no one's good in this movie. That's what I'm just trying to say. No actor is good in this movie.
Because I feel like in this show and in the zombie movie, he just let the actors just do whatever they want.
Or they don't know what to do and they just act basic.
Right. Like a testament to Dave Bautista again, because he came from wrestling. It's like, call it on the fly, I guess. Cool. Promos, ain't no script.
But that's a guy who wants to act in Bautista. Right. The only guy who's really acting in Army of the Dead was Omari Hardwick.
Well, because he's a mark for himself. He take himself serious in everything. He still think he goes. Right now, he think he goes. I use the mic like a walkie-talkie.
But yeah, it did the weird thing where it cast a young guy to be the old guy at the same time. I hated that. Like they talk about this legendary general, and they cast a young guy just to age him, not even really age him up. They just give him a beard and like he's older now. And I'm like, huh?
Right, like just cast an old person.
Yeah, I'm expecting like the guy who was the general in the young flashback to be a different person, but when it's just him with a beard, I'm like, is that because no one else wanted to take this part, or your idea was that stupid?
No, the idea was that stupid. It's called photo doubles. You can literally get somebody that looks like you or close enough to you and just find an older version. Everybody has somebody that kind of looks like them.
I'll tell that to Disney because all they want to do is give us young Luke Skywalker still. Young Indiana Jones still. You
talk about people that don't know how to book. I could cut a 2-hour promo about how bad Disney is.
You should watch the South Park. Which one did I just watch? That made fun of Kathleen Kennedy. It was great.
I know the one with Logan Paul they got out.
That one just came out. That one's all right. It was the Panderverse. You got to watch the Panderverse.
The Panderverse. That's hilarious.
Because
Big Mike told me to watch South Park again.
Because it was about how Disney was pandering and how Kathleen Kennedy said it's making fun of Kathleen Kennedy at every Disney meeting, being like, put a chick in it, make her lame and gay. Like, and I'm like, holy shit! Like,
are they wrong? Do you want to say that they're wrong?
That's why I'm just like, oh my god! Like,
they're the reason why John Boyega like, nah, I don't want to play Kane. I'm good, bro.
That's God, that did it.
That man got PTSD from Disney. You see that? You gotta come over here, you London piece of crap. Yeah, come on over here, Tyrone.
Why don't you want to be King the Conqueror? Huh?
All right, you want to do movies with other black people? Oh, we don't do that over here. We're a minority each movie.
I mean, recast. I don't think like everyone else thinks that they should just cut out King entirely. Just recast. It's easy. Just recast.
Dude, here we go. I'm warmed up now. Here we go. Thank you, Davis. Now I could cut my promo. They are fucking dead. They're done. It's over. The day that Tony Stark died, thank God. The day he died is the day they shouldn't have cut it. I don't want to see the Young Avengers. They gonna get bodied. Then this cast that they supposed to be coming up for the Kang Wars. Tobey Maguire don't want to do this. He don't like people. He's just like me. He don't want to do it, bro. That's your idea. Him and Shuri going against Kang.
Mike Singletary said, "Can't do it.
Won't do it." One of my favorite press conferences ever. Can't do it. Won't do it. I need people who want to win.
You said that's shout out to the We Want Winners podcast. It's a great 49ers podcast, but that's the name of their podcast because of that. I want winners. I want guys who know how to
win.
I hated him that day. I've said this. I hated him because he was putting down Vernon Davis, my favorite Niner on the team.
But remember, he pulled up on Vernon. He said, "What you want to do?"
And he dropped his pants in front of him.
Yeah, which is like, hey, yo, I would have left, bro. Hey, cut me from the team, bro.
That's the Mike Gundy. I'm a grown man. I'm 40. Like,
come after me. And the papers that write this is garbage.
And the guy who wrote the thing,
Garbage.
Garbage. You want to come after someone? You come after me.
To me, because I'm a man. I'm 40.
God,
That compilation. Anybody that's listening to this, watch this compilation.
Any coach press conference again. I always tell you the Dennis Green. They are who we thought they were.
Word. We let him off the hook.
I mean, we found it out today. He was who we thought he was.
Hmm.
Who could have told you that?
Was that us when we talking about CM Punk?
Anyone, everyone.
Yeah. Type
That's
shit.
one of the great lines in Sicario, Day of the Soldado, when he's like, "Where's the?" Oh no, that's the second line. He's like, "Who we going up against?" He says, "Everyone." That's
Man,
us.
you are who you show us. You are who you show us. Like, it's hard for you to hide who you are, bro. We see you.
And then playoffs.
Playoffs?
You're talking about playoffs.
Look, if we were in a game, playoffs. Y'all watch that compilation. I'm telling y'all, it's like the coaches, like, I forgot how it's phrased, but ESPN has, yeah. Because I remember I think it was the Oregon coach, dude, when he came through and just slammed the papers on the desk at the press conference, I was in tears.
Take that for data.
Yeah, the best one, bro.
Take that to your head coaching career.
Mike Dicker had the best one ever.
Oh my God.
Talk to the trainer. Next. Mike, why are you upset? Why do you care?
Well, Mike Ditka is probably the all-time promo because he's the guy who would like fuck you up. Like Mike Ditka played tight end for the Chicago Bears. Okay,
right. I gotta see that, the '85 Bears documentary.
That's why the guy who did The Last Dance.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch that. I want to know who got Jim McMahon. Did they use him like a puppet? Did somebody prop him up? It just moved his mouth. Pause.
Like,
yeah, Jim, we're live, Jim. Yeah, so I got some churros the other day. Jim, 85 Bears. Huh?
They probably
the
had
Cubs.
To show him,
yeah,
they probably had to show him the footage prior.
Oh no, they had to put that shit in reverse. It's your fritter in there. They had to reverse that a couple times. All right, Jim, that's you right there. Who? Jim, that's you with the headband. That motherfucker looked like Tommy Gunn from Rocky.
A little bit. Oh no, you're not wrong. He did a little bit.
I mean, all right, never mind. I had a
without
bad
the
joke
gimmick,
about Tommy Gunn.
in the before picture, yeah.
You know, Tommy needed that gimmick.
It was Tommy Gunn pre, and then the Tommy Gunn and Rocky's the Tommy Gunn post. You know.
Yeah, the post Tommy. Yeah, never mind. I don't want. That's a bad joke.
Well, you brought it up, so don't.
He looked like, damn, bro. What's the Minnesota worker? I lost the joke, bro. That played the.
You look sick.
All right, I'm out. No, he looked like, damn, bro. What's the Minnesota worker that was? He had a program against Ric Flair back in the NWA days. He was a Russian. He played a Russian.
Nikolai Volkov?
Yeah, he looked like Nikolai. No, not Nikolai Volkov.
Nikita Volkov.
Nikita Volkov. He from Minnesota.
Volkov.
Yeah.
Mixed up.
Yeah, Koloff. He a Minnesota man. He was kayfabe in Russian. He looked like him.
Yeah, because on the plane he was speaking Russian, and one of the guys said, "Cut the shit, you're from Minnesota." Like,
and he got a real Minnesota accent.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Off air, I'll talk about.
You've heard my stepmom talk. Oh yeah.
Oh, I was just about to say that. Shouts out to mom, dude. I was like, oh,
why
they really
funny.
I was like, oh, they really sound like that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a work.
And then I'm telling you, what's happening? It's.
I was like, wait.
It's a little bit from Ireland. It's a little bit along that lines.
It caught me around like, oh, y'all really talk like that.
But it's that part in Forgetting Sarah Marshall when he's like, "Are you from England? You sound like you from England."
I ain't seen that movie in years.
But you got anything else to say? I think we might as well get out of here. I mean, I could do this all day.
Yeah, I actually do got to do this all day. I got to do another episode after this. The usual Sunday. It's been like that for years. Just a manic Sunday.
Oh, come on. Boo.
I like
They
this
gave
one.
Manny the strikeout when he told that joke. We need that for you.
I always strike out my joke. So I was talking to my wife the other day. Get no respect.
Oh, I thought you were going to do the whole joke. She asked me where I wanted to go. I said, why don't you try the kitchen? That's the line.
I know, man. Rodney Dangerfield, he don't get no respect even now. Nobody talks about him. He manifested getting no respect because they don't talk about him even after death.
No, Eddie Murphy told a great story about him. Oh, well, you know, we'll talk about Beverly Hills Cop 4 before we leave.
I'm all in, brother.
I figured, but Eddie Murphy told a story about how he was at a club doing comedy. It was when he was super young and starting out. I think he said it was before SNL, and he did his act, and then Rodney Dangerfield went up, and he was like, "Oh my God, it's Rodney Dangerfield." We're all like in awe, like it's Rodney Dangerfield. And he did his act, and after he's like, "Mr. Dangerfield, can you offer me any advice?" And he's like, "Some of that stuff you do, I don't know if that'll work. You know, the language, and but keep going. You know, you got something." And then he does SNL, and then all his movies, and then Murphy's a big star, and then for you know, Raw and Delirious and all that, and then he says he runs into Rodney Dangerfield years later at a urinal, and Rodney Dangerfield looks at him, he's like, "Who knew? Like that shit would work." It's like a great story. I'm butchering it, but like look up Eddie Murphy, Rodney Dangerfield. The way he tells it, it's beautiful. But Beverly Hills Cop 4, I read something today where he said it was hard for him because it's just like the physical part of trying to be an action star. He said I was young in my 20s when I was doing it. I could be an action star back then. I can't be an action star now. But that's your fault for postponing it for the last 10 years, asshole. Like,
right, legit, because it was supposed to come out, bro. That was
2013 era.
Yeah, I remember it was their pre-production for the longest, and they announced it, and then they had the original cast is coming back. I was like, yeah, y'all might want to go ahead and film this just in case. I mean, they still relatively young, but still.
We literally, I think we got Big Mama's House 3 because Brandon T. No, I'm saying because Brandon T. Jackson got passed over from Beverly Hills Cop 4 to this, or to Big Mama's House 3.
Yeah, because he was supposed to be like the young rookie.
He was supposed to be the son, I thought, and now it's the daughter. It's Taylor Russell, I believe.
Yeah, why did you say? Hold on.
I thought you knew. That's the girl from the Kendrick Lamar video.
Which one? The one where they was arguing?
Yeah.
I ain't seen that load of crap. I hate that song.
Okay. But
yeah, that song.
She was in the movie where the white guy wanted to play basketball. I mean, the Chinese guy wanted to play basketball with Pop Smoke. She was in that.
Oh,
movie.
I definitely didn't see that, but I did like the dialogue.
I didn't see that movie either.
I never will. All I remember is Pop Smoke. They said he was talking like, damn, what's the dude? John Wayne. They said he was talking like John Wayne in the movie.
No. Hey, Pilgrim.
He said something else. Get the out of here.
Oh my God.
China, man.
Okay, that's just as bad.
No, he said way worse than that. Gran Torino level. Like he legit said the lines of Gran Torino. Yeah.
I bet you like Gran Torino. Not because of the racism, because that seems a movie up your alley.
I mean, I'm a big mark for Clint Eastwood. He ain't a mark for me. He'll call me something else.
How you doing? Thanks.
How you doing, spear chucker?
Let me tell you the story.
I want to tell you about my son.
Hey, don't you bash Scotty Eastwood.
Okay, cool. I won't do it then because I want to.
That's my boy. That's why I love Scotty Eastwood.
Yeah.
No, but Beverly Hills Cop 4, it's got Kevin Bacon in it. Because Bernie Madoff took all his money, so he asked to act for money these days.
Yeah, hey, bro, people think it's a game. Yo, even mainstream actors. Yeah, dumbass. His dumbass invested.
That's why he did the X-Men movie.
He looked at the Enron documentary and said, well, shit.
Yeah, but he was good at the X-Men in First Class. I'm not going to lie. He is great as Sebastian Shaw.
He's a good actor. I hated him in Invincible Man because he showed his meat, but Oh, Hollow Man.
Hollow
Yeah.
Man. It's the same premise. It's the same movie. It's the exact
Same
movie.
thing. Yeah.
No, they
Same
just
thing.
they just changed the title to be all 2000 about it. Yeah. I
Bruh.
watched Hollow Man on my birthday last year.
Why?
I had never seen it. Some of the CGI in that is insane. When they make the gorilla disappear, like
Hey, truth be told, that's a problematic movie. They had a lot of how do you say no means no situations.
but that I don't want to say that's what makes it good, but that's what makes it scary. Like
Yeah,
it's a
but
terrifying scene.
yeah, but I'm like, I don't care if it's 2002 or 2001 when that came out. I was like, yeah, bro, I don't think y'all should have did this.
The most terrifying thing I've seen this year from a movie this year, I watched today. I watched the movie Saltburn. And there is a scene disturbing it. And I watched Evil Dead Rise this year, and that didn't freak me out or scare me. There was some shit in that where I was like, ugh. But the scene I saw in Saltburn, it just is like, raw, like
You don't need to describe it here in case somebody is like sensitive to it.
it's on
Put it in the
Amazon
chat.
Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, I kind of suggest watching it. But it was just so disturbing in a level of like, whoa, they went for that. And I applauded them doing it, but it was just like disturbing, like I'm saying.
They got that movie out with the clown. What do you call it?
I can't hear you right now.
My fault. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
They got that movie out with the clown. What is it called? Necromonger or something like that?
With the clown? No, the clown movie is Terrifier.
There you go. I said
I haven't seen. I'm not going to see those. No. That's
what I'm saying. We're at a time now where nothing is off limits.
No, but I'm saying the movies I've seen. I'm not watching those movies. I bet there's some disturbing shit in those movies, but I'm not seeing those.
Very much so. But that's what I'm saying. We're at that point now with everything where nothing is off limits. So nothing surprises me anymore. Like Thanksgiving is not even off limits no more.
DeAndre, you are correct. Yes.
Yeah, you gonna have to just tell me off air what's going on. You don't need to say it here in case somebody is like
drinks another man's bathwater after he's
I don't have no
in it.
I don't have no video I could put up on here without us getting in trouble. So yeah, let's move on.
I was just like,
I got some
whoa.
videos. I got some videos I could play, but I can't play here because they got words that I can't say on air.
But yeah, Beverly Hills Cop 4, also a Netflix movie, which won't be a good sign.
Won't draw a dollar, but it's gonna be a good movie.
That's debatable if it'll be good or not.
No, it looked fire to me. It caught me off guard.
That trailer was okay to me. I'm glad to see Eddie Murphy back because he never gave us that stand-up special like he talked about. Chappelle is giving us a stand-up special next week. I'll watch it.
You already know what to expect. He gonna be mad at people that drink men bath water.
Fair enough.
That's all his bit is about. I'm mad at the people that dress like or do whatever, try and do all this stuff. It's like, okay, man, damn, bro, let it go.
I agree. It's just like move on already. Be a grown up, like. But
y'all the ones that did it. Being the whites, y'all the one that made him to go. Y'all called him to go. When Richard Pryor forget history. Richard Pryor exists.
No. This is everyone involved because everyone quotes Chappelle. You're included.
I don't quote him as much as everybody else.
I'm not saying anymore, but everyone still uses the Chappelle show. Again, I say a reference and you still laugh. That means something.
Yeah, but he ain't. But the thing is, with me, they made him for a stand-up comedy. They ordained him as the GOAT. I'm like, dog, y'all just want to get Richard Pryor up out of here for some reason.
No, because that's what we spoke to earlier. Because history, you have to make room for someone new. It can't just be the same person from the 70s or the 80s. It has to be someone new. It has to be someone from the last 10 years at least. Has to be the GOAT of something.
And while that is true, hey man, he godfathered y'all whole style. He made y'all. Well, if anybody has stand-up comedy, it's been the same thing for years because everybody wanted to be like him.
Oh no, that's undeniable. No one should ever be that. It's the same thing. Like that's why Tom Brady's so good because Joe Montana literally came before him. But, like what we were saying earlier. No, but people surpass who they were inspired by. That's what I'm saying. They are able to do more. Again, what Richard Pryor was doing as a stand-up, Chappelle was able to do as a stand-up, but then also on a variety show, on a sketch show. Do the Richard Pryor movies up to Chappelle show skits?
Nah. And then it was just at that point the internet was starting to take off too. So it was the internet era that helped it because obviously they didn't have the internet in the 70s for Richard Pryor show. So it's two different diameters. Yeah. And I mean, well, stuff he was saying he was doing on the show, you couldn't even do in 2003, 2004. So yeah. And I mean, I'll check it out. I really want to see. I watched the documentary with Chris Rock and Kevin Hart.
Yeah, why'd you watch that?
These guys are great.
But that's just as bad trying to hear Chris Rock in this year compared to Chappelle.
Not really. I seen his last stand.
He's a guy crying about being a victim while giving us shitty movies for 20 years.
Well, you have to do that because that's what book you the roles that or book you the gigs that he's getting now. So I understand why he would do that. And then at the same time, it's something that's in history. Now, for me, it's corny to keep dragging it out. But at the same time, dude, Chris Rock is a how do I say this without making him sound like he's less than a man? Because I would never do that. But he's from no, because you know what I mean? I don't want to disrespect him as a man and because I'm a fan of his. And I think
the Don Corleone, you can act like a man. Slap him.
Yeah, he's probably right. So I don't want to disrespect him like that. And then he seems like, he ain't Fredo, but I don't want to disrespect him like.
He kind of might be Fredo a little bit.
He's just a victim of circumstances. But
I'm your little brother, Mike.
Like he ain't got that. He doesn't have anything to prove like Fredo. Like Fredo felt like the whole world was against him, but he was a victim of his own ideas.
He was the sick child who, again, was older than Michael and got passed over. So the world was against Fredo in terms of his own father. Yeah,
he had. No, he was a younger kid. He had younger kid syndrome. Either it's the middle kid or the younger kid. That's always going to be the issue. Because the daughter was. That's all different.
Well, different type of. Well, she was. That's why that movie's so good based on how it's written, because she's a woman who's a victim who becomes evil. It plays all the shit she goes through kind of helps her at the end when she actually goes to Michael and begs him to forgive Fredo. She becomes callous herself by doing that.
Also,
in the third one, she's legit evil.
It's the sins of the father, bro. Just think about,
that's storytelling. That's why it's the best story there is.
Yeah, I mean, long-term booking. It's the pops who. I mean, I'm an immigrant. I got to get to it. It's the Great Depression, but at the same time, it's like, yeah. And then, I mean, again, like you just said, it's the great story because they talked about it, and then it foreshadowed with Mike. It's like, damn, bro, my pops got me in this situation. But he had to commit his sins for us to come up, and now we going through it, and it's like a never-ending cycle.
And it's not just sins of the father; it's more accidental because, like you said, I never wanted this for you. But if Sonny isn't a hothead and Fredo isn't a sick weakling, and Connie isn't, a daughter, it had no choice but to be Michael anyway. That's where like him being a chosen one works out so beautifully. That's why I love
that. Wears a crown.
Yeah, and that's why the Shakespeare quote is the best. Where some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. That's Michael.
You know what's the best thing about that? And I mean, we can always go on the off note about Godfather. That's just a given. But the best thing about it is, and it's probably the best go home to a movie ever, is the final scene in the second one when he had the
that's my
table.
favorite
Start
scene.
reminiscing. We start reminiscing like, damn, bro, we was eating together. We was family. Now everybody, for the most part, I mean, I'm tripping. It's 4 siblings all together. This
Well, because
the
Tom's
oldest,
adopted, yeah.
yeah. So it's like, you know what I mean? My brother got shot up. Pops is gone. I done killed Fredo. I done put the hit out on Fredo. Sister
Turns his back
alcoholic.
to Tom. Yeah, because Tom wants to leave him, he turns his back to him, essentially.
I done smacked the wife because of something she did that I was
I
against.
always say that's the only time I'll justify anything like that.
All right.
Because she did get an abortion without him knowing. And she kind of throws it in his face as to him.
I didn't want our son. I didn't want our child to be born into this.
Son, by you to come into this world. It was evil, a child of evil. And he does what?
Right. Just fucking waffles are.
But no, that is my favorite scene because then it fades into him sitting on the bench again, reminiscent. But the line before that, when he says, "I'm joining the army," and everyone's like, "Why are you doing that?" And then Tom is quiet. He's like, "What about the future your father and I had planned out for you?" And he says, "My future. You planned my future." And it shows like this is a guy who was meant to live another life, and it didn't go to plan.
But take it from me. Thanks all these 40 years later after that movie came out, you're a real person. Yeah. That's how cookies crumble, pal.
Mm-hmm. But thank y'all for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed all this random banter. Don't watch Rebel Moon. If you've already watched it, you paid the price like we have. I'll watch the second just to see how it goes. I ain't got shit else to do these days. But God, it stinks. What it is.
Hit that Stephen A. Smith. He can't play. When you talking about Jamarcus Russell?
Oh God.
Except for this Jabba the Hutt, you fat greases.
God, and they were Zion Williamson. You saying he's too worried about eating.
He should have stayed with that woman, though, man.
Now you're on her side.
Well, because she said she had the insight on how fast he should go on the treadmill at what speed.
I was saying this a few weeks ago, and y'all are laughing at me. I'm like, no, she was the one whispering to him about here's what you need to do. Ironically, her of all people.
Yeah, he should have stayed with her, man, because she knew stop drinking soda, stop doing. She knew what he needed to do as far as the treadmill and all. I'm like, oh no, you should have stayed with her, big fella.
That's why those tweets are so funny because it showed her messages like, I want you to be great, and you're holding yourself back, and I'm like, damn.
Right. So what has she got a history? Everybody got a history.
No, it's not even because she's a porn star. It's just like the way the situation was played out. It was funny. It was again, porn star shaming in 2023 is ridiculous. Come on.
Right, because everybody be fucking. It just don't be on camera.
But the fact that she was just more into his NBA career than he was is what was so funny about that story. Yeah,
that's kind of scary too. You can't care. Somebody else can't care about your livelihood more than you.
But he got his 60, 70 million already.
And that's the fucking problem right there. I'm gonna sound like the old heads. They getting cashed out too fast, bro.
Don't give them the contracts then.
Exactly. Because I forgot what former champion or former basketball player say this. I think Chuck said this. They getting paid on potential now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, bruh, you can't pay people on potential because most people with potential never fulfill it. And it's the reason why people are always talking about LeBron. It's like, oh, he over exceeded expectations and then some. Yeah.
There's not a contract fair enough for him in the NBA.
Same with Jordan. Same with like a lot of these top 75. It's a ton of top 75 players that played back then. Like Chuck always say, Bro, but Chuck said it best. It's always funny when he talk about. He was like, "Bro, if I was born in the wrong time. If I was born now playing NBA, I'd come in a spaceship."
And that's where their bitterness and resentment towards this generation comes into play because they're mad they got paid 1/100th of what these guys make on one paycheck.
Like, dude, Shaq. Like, let's just talk about some of the people. Shaq
got the endorsements and all that extra stuff. Jerry West said it to Paul George, where he's like, "I can't give you the money Orlando wants to give you with this Laker contract, but if you come here are all these other endorsements that you will be guaranteed by being in LA. That will equal the highest contract another team has to offer." And that's what all these athletes now cashed in on, and their own brands, et cetera, and all that. But you're right about them paying guys on potential, but this is what I was trying to say a few weeks ago, where you don't have to offer in the contract. Yes, they do, but you don't. They're just afraid to lose this guy for nothing. And what if he succeeds elsewhere? Like, now there are these clauses in the contract that they can kind of basically release him at any time after a season, right? The way it's structured is that they can kind of just not pick up his option and he can go back and he can go to free agency. But
they don't let anybody go to free agency no more because you can't just give something up, so they just trade them.
Exactly. And that's like, the team. That's the team's fault. It's not the players, because the players never want to be in free agency. The teams are scared of free agency because if no one's out there, we can't pick anyone up.
Yeah, and it's not even about can this player help us win championships? Can they create revenue? Because nobody cares about championships anymore. People haven't cared about championships in years.
No, they do, because that's how Denver won. Because they put a team built around two guys and they won.
Yeah, but they structured it for them. So you're talking about a smaller market team. So let me phrase that.
You mean smaller teams that have all the money and still don't win? Yeah,
because it's a lot of teams now. They just play off. All right, can you create revenue? It ain't about winning a championship because they don't structure a lot of teams to win championships. Because also, I don't think most players care about championships no more. If you make, it's like the Gilbert Arenas thing. Yo, if I make $200 million, you think I care about a championship?
Yeah. But that's what I was trying to say about Ohtani going to the Dodgers is that just because the team has all the money, they're not guaranteed to win still. People thought the Rangers were going to be the worst team in baseball the first month into the season, and then they won the title. The Texas Rangers.
But come on. They are, Mookie Betts, Ohtani. They got old man Kershaw.
It's not guaranteed, is what I'm saying. You have the names, you have the money. The Yankees have had it for 20 years and have had one title in the last 20 years, and they've had all the money. They've had all the names.
They got a generational talent, though. Ohtani is generational talent on the superstar team now.
And the Rangers and the Yankees were able to get Stanton and Judge, and then they bought Masato Tanaka. They get all these guys, and still they don't win. I know the Houston Astros had to bang out some trash games to win, but they still had to play the games.
Bruh, they got three as of now, I can think off the top of my head, the Dodgers have 3 Hall of Famers.
Mm-hmm.
And I just named them.
And they've won one title during COVID.
Okay, so let's say they get
and they've had how many playoff losses since then? 3 straight.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not guaranteed. Even with Betts, even with Freddie Freeman, even with Ohtani and Yamamoto now, it's not guaranteed.
So as of now, it's too early. Would you have them winning the World Series for 2024?
Fuck no. Baseball is the most random sport. I just mentioned the Rangers. It's the most random sport of all of them. You were bringing up how good the Niners were going to be this year, and I'm like, we'll wait and see.
I told you, though.
No, but I said teams will be able to figure out Brock Purdy. They did for a little bit, but he still has something extra that seems legitimate. But teams were figuring him out. If you get to him with the blitz right away, he can get him before he can throw the ball off. He's a little bit of a gunslinger at times, but with his weapons, he's still unstoppable. The defense had some weak points with the secondary, like it's had the last 3 seasons. Anyone who's watched the Niners knows the secondary is easy to attack, but they're still a contender. It's in football. It's just weeding out who's going to be the ones to win in the end. you can predict the 6 teams that are going to get to that opportunity, but only 2 of them are actually really going to fight for it. Basketball, it's the same thing. There are 8 teams that look like contenders, but we really only know it's going to be these 3. Baseball, it's super random.
Hey, man. Again, I feel like on paper they can win the title, and I understand exactly what you're saying. But because of the team that they have right now, if they can stay healthy, I'll get them by default. But you're right. And then we'll talk about it real quick as we get closer to the wild card and then the playoffs. I'll talk about it more. I told Davis in the beginning of the season, bro, I'm going with the 49ers to go all the way. I don't see a problem with them. They don't have no issues at all. If everybody can stay healthy, top to bottom, y'all.
That's football. It's the hardest sport in the world to stay healthy in.
Yeah, but top to bottom, again, y'all about to be on the bye week when you get to the playoffs. I don't see anybody touching the 49ers. I said in the beginning of the season to Davis and Big Black John Stud, I'll say it now. I got them going all the way, bro. I don't see any team bothering them.
And the 2 contenders in the same conference, the Eagles and the Cowboys, if you watch the first quarters of those games, it looked even. Again, the Eagles had all the time of possession, and they were only able to kick field goals in the red zone. So that shows this team has its own weaknesses too. They weren't able to capitalize while dominating the clock. The Cowboys thing was, how long can they hold the Niners off, or how long can they go without making a mistake? Because if you watch that Cowboys Sunday night game with the Niners, it was a close game for a quarter and a half, and then the wheels fell off. Mike McCarthy showed he's Mike McCarthy. Dak Prescott showed he's Dak Prescott. And then Niners offense is better than the Cowboys defense. Even though the Trayvon Diggs injury happened, but still. But the Eagles thing showed are they a team that beats up on bad teams? More than likely.
I'm not putting the Eagles over. And I'm definitely not putting the Cowboys over because they just pissed me off again. But what's new? Honestly, I don't see anybody else coming out to the division or the conference.
But you never know. That's the football too.
Yeah, because it's unpredictable as well.
On game day, it's unpredictable. Baseball, I can say, is unpredictable for a full season because it's a 5-month season.
Right.
You can have a bad 2 months and then a great 3 months.
Right. I mean, I'll wait to hold everything because we still got to get the wild card set up in the standings. I will say the Steelers being in the wild card, depending on who they go against in the wild card, I don't know, man. The Steelers, that's a whole different conversation. I could cut a 10 to 30-minute promo about the Steelers. I don't particularly have nothing bad to say about them. I think it shows more so. And again, you hear all these sports shows that don't know too much shit. That's why I only listen to 2, and they're on YouTube. But the ESPNs, most of them don't know shit about sports. And they like, oh, it was Mike Tomlin on the hot seat. No. He got a team with.
If anything, he just needed a new team just for a change of scenery. I think the same thing with Belichick. You can be a good coach still, but you might just need to implement your system on some new players, not in the same organization.
I think Mike need to go to the Chargers.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, you should send Mike Tomlin to the Chargers. You should send Belichick to New Orleans.
That whole team gonna quit.
And then you need to send John Harbaugh, if they don't win this year, somewhere else too. Because sure, he won the 1 Super Bowl, but he's messed up this Lamar thing. Maybe he goes to Carolina. Give him Bryce Young.
Oh, you want to send him to hell? God damn.
Someone's got to go there. Someone's got to do it.
Did you see the arena?
Or maybe, you know what? Give Justin Fields. Can he turn Justin Fields into Lamar?
No, all that shit be sinking, boss. That's done.
He goes to
Caleb Williams, come on down.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be tough to see. But I agree because that's what I was thinking. Like Mike Tomlin definitely needs to go to San Diego because he'll be able to work magic there.
That's all he needs, a coach.
Justin Herbert will be his new Big Ben.
Bruh, all they need is a coach. That's it. Yeah, a consensual Ben Roethlisberger. Like, bruh, all they need is a coach.
Maybe Brandon Staley needs to coach the Steelers.
The Steelers just, I mean, maybe because we so used to the Steelers being Steelers of yesteryear when they had some of the greatest defensive players we've seen, including James Harrison, which I don't understand why he still do these insane workouts where he's like pelvic thrusting like 1,000 pounds and squatting 1,000 pounds. Yeah, but damn, bro, how much weight can you do a day?
I could do this all day.
That's what you do, bald-headed bastard. He just be up here bench pressing like 600 pounds still. Like, dog, it's over. You're going to go to the Hall of Fame, but it's over. That team, boy. I love when Chad talk about that team, too. He's like, excuse me, somebody asked a couple of weeks ago, what team did you have to really prepare for? You're like, boy, excuse me. He was like, boy, Troy Polamalu, man, he was a terror.
Diesel, James Harrison, Lamar Woodley.
Yeah, he was talking about all. He said, bruh.
Yeah.
And he was a route runner, too. He said, I'd come out the game hurt.
That and the dirty ass Legion of Boom are probably the deadliest defenses in the last 20 years since the 01 Ravens.
I think he did talk about the Legion of Boom. Yeah, he did talk about the Legion of Boom. You got to.
Fuck those guys.
I mean, I understand what you mean. Anybody want to know about the Legion of Boom? Yeah, do your Googles on them.
They're dirty players. Richard Sherman was smacking hands and taking Adderall.
I don't even know if he on Undisputed still, but he needed something.
But thank y'all for joining us. You've been joining us the whole time.
Right, this is our longest episode in a while.
We kind of always go long is the thing, yeah. Again, it's like those old wrestling matches where they just wrestle for 2.5 hours because the people paid to the tickets and they didn't realize like they would still pay you even if you wrestled 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, hey, we definitely old working style, brother. We called it in the ring, which is always perfect for me. I don't really like, planning matches out. I like calling on the fly, and there we go.
Yeah, we had some topics, but like I said, we can go in a million different directions.
I think we hit the topics.
The only main one was Rebel Moon. Then we talked Maestro. The only what was that? Oh, the creator. I was mad. The creator wasn't good.
I liked it.
I thought it was okay. I was just like I expected more. Is what I'm saying.
Not necessarily.
I think John David Washington he still needs something.
He got to just keep acting.
Oh no, I agree. I just mean like he still needs a big role because the way Tenet went, it was a worse circumstance for him. That movie coming out during COVID.
Because I think he is a draw. It's just
he should be Kang.
Nah, he too much like his pops. He too laid back.
But he has that. He has that. He can be silly. He can be tough. He can do a lot. Nah,
because when he start being silly, that's when you know that he is father's son. Because he too cool under any circumstance. Even when he yelling, he cool.
That was some of the bad stuff in this movie when he was telling like, "Get in the car, come on!" Like it's a game. Like when he tries to do his silliness, because he was actually really good on ballers, as we've talked about before.
Yeah.
And he's good in Black Klansman. But yeah, I mean, I still don't know. I don't have a choice for who should be Kang.
Let's see if they even keep it going on. If not,
they can't abandon it.
They will because it's fucking Disney. They don't know how to book anything. So it's like we should just get rid of the character.
They used to, but not anymore.
They're like, oh yeah, we should do Doom instead. You stupid son of bitches, y'all shouldn't have did Doom from the beginning. It's fucking Dr. Doom. He more known than Kane.
What they got, and X and Van, I probably talked about this, but I bet I think I've said this before too. They wanted to push the obscure stuff first because once the Fox thing went through, they looked at Fantastic Four and X-Men as break glass in case of emergency. So let's do all the stuff we think might not work and hope it does. That way we don't have to rush and show that we actually needed these characters the whole time, being X-Men, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man. But it turns out you actually did need those characters the whole time.
Right, but I mean, they can't use
post Avengers is what I'm saying. They made the Avengers work, but post Endgame, they did need the big
everything.
Back.
Yeah.
A bigger picture.
But and I like the Marvels too. So
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
there's some bad stuff in it, but there's some good stuff in it too. I didn't hate it. I hated the post-credit scene, but I didn't hate the Marvels.
Yeah, they just keep doing the post-credit scene and be like, hey, 2026.
Yeah. Not even. We don't know, but stay tuned.
Yeah. We got you. Trust me.
I mean, I appreciate what they were doing on paper, but seeing it in the theater, I was just like, fuck you.
Right.
This is not what I want, especially not like this.
It is what it is, brother.
Yeah, I can't even. But yeah, all right. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.
$5,000 to white my tree.